Well, g'day football fans, wherever and whenever you may be watching around the world. Welcome down under. You're looking at Riverside Oval in suburban Port
Adelaide Uni have won the toss and elected to defer. They'll kick from the southern end.
This is the Great Southern Bowl, the 34th championship game for Gridiron South Australia. Today, it's Australia's most successful Gridiron side, the Hogs from Adelaide University, taking on the Port Adelaide Spartans, seeking their first flag since 2001. My name's Phil Hurd, part of your Spacequake sports team today. I'm joined by calling colleague Nick Priest. Nick, welcome to Championship Day.
Well, this is what it's all about. We've had series of games between these two teams, a dogfight throughout the season, and it all comes down to this. One of these teams is going to be leaving with a championship trophy, and the other one is going to be wondering what if for the next 11 months.
Doesn't matter what the sport, doesn't matter what the grade. There is something special when there is a championship on the line, and that is the case here. 34 seasons Gridiron in South Australia has been played. You can see the weather conditions, a tiny bit of cloud, but I can tell you the weather in Adelaide in recent days has been horrendous, windy, cold, stormy, rainy, but we've got a beautiful day for some football, some gridiron as we call it, down under this afternoon.
Absolutely, and it looks like Adelaide is going to be kicking off to Port Adelaide to start things off. It's going to be an interesting one. The Port Adelaide Spartans are a heavy running team. They're not operating with their standard quarterback today, so they need to get on the board early, see if they can get an early lead and build on it. Adelaide has come back week after week, so they are never out of the game. But if they can get a few scores early, this one may be decided before Port Adelaide gets going.
Okay, and we are underway in the Great Southern Bowl. The kick into and out the back of the end zone. The Spartans in the All Black since they've been since day one in 1986 when they won the first ever Gridiron SA game. The Hogs, formerly the Razorbacks, in their traditional maroon and white. It will be the Spartans 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line.
And we're going to get our first look at the new Port Adelaide quarterback, Nathan Van Pamelen, who stepped in for the semi-final game last week. But David Webb, number 2, is not going to be able to take the hits. Van Pamelen was the quarterback for the championship round last time, where they came up just short in overtime. See what he has in store for us here. Quick toss out to Ben Martin, but incomplete, looking to the flats, and not the start that Port Adelaide wants to get behind on the downs early on.
It's a different kind of day, a different kind of game. Of course, not only, a bigger crowd, lots at stake, live stream around the world, and so you want to settle those nerves early. The Spartans, well, it's deja vu in a certain sense. This is the rematch of last year's grand final, but the teams are in different roles. Last year, the Spartans were unbeaten. Van Pamelen was actually their quarterback, but they lost in overtime as they hand the ball off to a key player this afternoon. He'll be one to watch. Number 36, Damien Volar, last year's MVP. And with the Spartans to a backup quarterback in the biggest game of the season, he is going to carry quite the offensive load.
Well, Damien Volar has been immensely effective every time that he's touched the ball, but the past few weeks he has been plagued by turnover issues, just giving the ball up and getting hit behind the line. And if he turns the ball over here, then it's going to be a long day for Port Adelaide.
3rd and 4.
Adelaide shows pressure. Quick play fake, a little bit of draw to Damien Volar, but that is quickly met. Jaden Baez on the tackle. Drop back, and that will be 4th down, and the Port Adelaide will send on the punt team.
For those new to this crazy game, well, you get the ball, you have 4 plays to go 10 yards. The Spartans have gone 6 in their first 3, and usually if you deep in your own territory on the 4th down, you bring out the punter and point it downfield. Dave Webb gets a high snap. This is dangerous. Webb's got no choice but to sit on the ball, and what a gift for the Hogs they're going to have. They could not have asked for anything better. 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Webb is extremely upset. He has thrown the ball away. It's going to be a personal foul, half the distance to the goal line, and then it'll be about a couple of inches.
Well, the early indication was a safety, and so this will be either enforced on the kick, which would
okay.
So it really depends on what the call is. The indication is a safety, so 15 yards back on a safety punt is a big deal.
Well, we have our first points of the day. It's gone to the Hogs 2-0. They won't get the ball first and goal.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 2. 15 yards.
Just a little bit of a check in terms of how this is going to be measured off, because the ball's at the 25 at the kickoff. Is it a half distance scenario? You would think inside the 30 it probably would be. And in some ways, Nick, in a weird scenario, this is almost better for the Spartans to have given up the 2 points than give the Hogs the ball at the 1 yard line.
Absolutely. It was a heads-up play by Webb. I'm not actually sure why he was protesting it that much.
Take the 2.
Other than he thought that maybe that they were just wrong. So
yes,
getting that out of the way early, but Webb not healthy enough to do the quarterbacking, but is the Spartans punter and occasionally their place kicker, but he is being replaced by Jonathan Reichstein here because Reichstein has the leg. He can kick field goals from just about anywhere on the field, whereas Webb has the control, Reichstein has the power, and when you're pushed all the way back here, you may as well kick it as far as you possibly can. Kick is up, it's squibbed, bounces at about midfield, and fielded by, oh, little trickeration by Adelaide, but ends up costing them yards.
Henry Olsen got the raw end of that handoff, and it was Jordan Bell, number 4, coming in to lay the tackle.
Bajir Amana was looking to set up a little reverse on the field goal, but tossed it out, and Adelaide just let that ball linger on the ground, and there's no longer second in sports than when the ball is loose on the ground. Adelaide lucky to come up with it, because that could have been a huge break for Port Adelaide.
We have already, it's an exceptionally dry, warm day here in Adelaide. Already 2 miscues with the football. It's cost the Spartans 2 points, almost cost the Hogs the football. First time they have it, 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Josh Welborn, number 8, is your quarterback this afternoon. He hands off. Here's a big player in Jordan Valdez, and he gets to about the 30-yard line. So talking about some key factors in the game. Valles, for mine, if he is not contained today, you might as well give the cup to the Hogs right now.
Absolutely. He has added a new dimension to Adelaide's offense. They've always been a strong passing side, but Valles was the all-state selection at running back this season to go along with selections at wide receiver Plamondon, 83, and quarterback Josh Whalebourne, number 8. So stars all over on the offense here. 2 receivers each side for Whalebourne. 2nd and 10. Quick toss out. Valles was the target, and that ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, so that could be live.
Okay, yeah, that's Spartan's ball. Has to be.
Indication from Gordon on our sideline is that that is Spartan's ball.
Well, it's not official yet.
No,
and incomplete.
Overruled by the officials on the far side. Incomplete, 3rd down coming up. So big break there for Adelaide University, because that looked backwards to me.
Hasn't this game got off to a crazy start? We've had all of about 7 plays, and the ball is having a mind of its own.
It absolutely is. I imagine that nerves are very high, and it takes a little bit to settle in, even when you've been in as many premiership games as Adelaide University has.
2 dropped passes, a fumble, a high snap safety. You might see some offense soon. The pass out to there's Sammy Morton, and g'day to Grandma watching in Ontario, Canada. A loss on this occasion. He's caught behind the line of scrimmage, a loss of 3, and it's a matchup, Nick, between the top offense in the competition there. The Hogs wearing the white, you can see there, but the Spartans defense, they are league leaders. Their offense gave up 8 turnovers last week, and their defense, despite having the ball forever in deep in their own territory, held out, just gave up the 1 touchdown.
Well, they didn't even give up the 1 touchdown.
That's true. Pitched the shutout.
Little trickeration there, fake. I'm not sure why I wouldn't do that on this particular possession, but give the Spartans something to think about. That kick goes out of bounds at about the 19-yard line. The key to the Spartans' defense is that they are solid enough up front in that front 7 where they can play zone cover 2 behind it with regularity, and their safeties are the ones who come up with the really big plays in the passing game. Very prolific. Riddington had over 10 interceptions this season in the regular season, and just makes a huge difference when they can come up with possessions in short fields.
46 yards on the punt plate. It pins the Spartans at their own 20. This is their second series with the ball. If you've just joined us, this is the Great Southern Bowl, the Gridiron South Australia Championship game from Riverside Oval in Port Adelaide. And there's a running play. This is Vola who gets the call. He gets to the 25, and that's what you want, Nick, on a first down run. A gain of 6 brings up 2nd and 4, helps open up the playbook.
Absolutely. Once you get into the 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, you know that you have pretty much all that you need to make a third down and manageable. So you can take a shot down the field without fear of really sticking yourself in a 3rd and long situation. 2nd and 4 is where the Spartans really thrive and where the playbook can open. Plamondon under center. Fakes the handoff and looks downfield for Reichstein, but that is incomplete, out of bounds, and that will bring up 3rd and 4. Now this will be interesting if the Spartans offense changes a little bit, because Plamondon, historically at least, is a little bit of a runner as a quarterback position, so they could get a little bit of a read option there, zone read type plays, but the Spartans playbook doesn't change too much. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt to his strengths in the passing and the running game.
3rd down and 4. No one's converted a 3rd down as yet.
Adelaide shows pressure.
And they go to the ground. Vola met at the line of scrimmage, and that'll be no gain, and 4th down. And let's see how the Spartans do as Dave Webb takes the field to punting 2nd time around. Just to give you a little bit of context to this contest, this season the Hogs went 10 and 1, the defending champions. They won their, they went 9 and 1. They won their first 9 games, secured top spot, which gives them a direct berth in this match. Sort of went easy in their last game against the Eagles. A lot of veterans missing the second half. They lost that game. Spartans, well, they finished 2nd and had a tough win last week against the Eagles in the prelim final to make it here. As Webb gets it out to the 42, and that is a punt of about 19 yards.
Well, it was another very high snap, and Webb had to back up a little bit or line up further back in order to control it, and that is a dangerous play because it just means that it takes a very long time to get that punt off. And if Webb is not in condition to run around and potentially fake it, if Adelaide brings pressure, they may get to it later in the game.
2nd time today, the Hogs have the football. This is great field position. You may notice, if you've been just keeping an eye on the field, there is no 50 here at Riverside. It is a 90-yard field. Midway point is the 45. Hogs 1st and 10 from the 42 of the Spartans. There looks to be some running room for Henry Olsen. He dashes to the outside. He tiptoes down the outside hash marks, and that's the first down of the afternoon.
It was a big play, but we have a flag down. The official on that side, Simon Pollitt. Very quick there, and
some good blocking, I think, down that sideline. Officials may have a different view of it.
Holding, number 83 on the offense. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
all right, so that doesn't wipe out the 1st down, but
well, I guess it would. I think it does, but we were already at 1st down when we started, so it stays at the first down.
Essentially, because he was past the 1st down line mark when the foul occurred, they gave them the 1st down.
Yep, okay.
So.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. 32-yard line. That's where the Hogs are at. They have a 2-0 lead. Points on the board before they'd even touched the ball, courtesy of a high punt snap. Warmish day here in Adelaide. Temperature about 22 degrees. Of course, don't have to tell you the players have got a lot of padding on.
3 receivers on the right. Whalebourne looks that way, tosses it out short, but a little bit behind his receiver, unable to come up with it, was looking for Plamondon, who is an all-state selection, but unable to hook up on that one. 2nd and 10 coming up.
We'll get Adelisa, Youssef and Michael going for the Spartans. Andrew balancing it out with the Hogs. We've got Dirk watching from the USA. Jake and a special cheer to Julia Morton Ma, the grandmother of Sam, watching from Ontario. Don't forget, put a comment in the YouTube feed. Be part of our broadcasting team this afternoon. It's 2nd and 10 for the Hogs. Well ball number 8. Hands off to Valles. And there's a hit. But not before he gains 4 yards. We'll bring up about 3rd and 6. And
Ryan Ottens delivered the big blow there, and Valles' helmet came off, which means that he will have to come off the field for one play.
Gain of a long 5 on that one. And so far, if you're a Hogs fan, you'd be pretty happy how this is going. They've got the lead, they've got the ball there in Spartans territory, and Spartans have had 2 series and have really shown nothing offensively as yet. 3rd down.
Once again, 2 receivers each side. Plemondon and Builder to the left. Or not Builder, but Barrington. Throw out to Plemondon, who makes the first man miss, but looks like a tackle right about the 20-yard line, so that'll be good for a 1st down. But once again, Plemondon's helmet comes off, and so he'll have to come off for his snap.
Yep. Someone better order some new chin straps for the uni boys. So 2nd 1st down of the afternoon, both to the Hogs, and they are in the red zone. No, not quite. They're at the 21. The Hogs story is quite incredible, that this is the 34th season of Gridiron in South Australia, and they are shooting for premiership number 25. If they win today, they do set a new record, winning 6 in a row. The previous record is 5, which the Hogs have done twice. 1st and 10, pitch out play to Olsen, playing running back and getting some good room. Keeps his feet. And Ryan Ottens in the end might have just saved a touchdown there. A gain of 10 and another 1st down to the Hogs. It looks likely. Could be 1st and goal.
So Adelaide is showing some new wrinkles already. They had the extra bye week heading into the championship game. Didn't have to play a semifinal. So that means that they had 2 weeks to put in tweaks. Anything that they notice tendency-wise on the Spartans' defense will be analyzed and exploited with absolute fever here today. 3 receivers on Whalebourne's left. Looks that way. Short, Plemondon cuts it up on a little tunnel screen.
Touchdown.
And into the end zone for the touchdown. So score now 8-0. Adelaide University out in front with the extra point yet to come.
It's working beautifully for the Hogs at the moment. Good balance of run and pass. First successful pass for positive yards, and that's how the Hogs have actually scored most of their points this season, through the air. When you score a touchdown, you get the choice of kicking it between the uprights above the crossbar for 1, or going for 2 with a run or pass. They're going for the 1. The kick is low, and I think that is, no, it is good. The sideways angle got me on that occasion, so the lead now is 9. It is a 2-score contest as you see the replay. You see the goal line. The ball spilled free, but not before that plane had been crossed. So this is at the moment worst nightmare for the Spartans. They would have come in as underdogs. Not just the fact that the Hogs were the minor premiers, not just the fact that in their 3 meetings today, this season, the Hogs had won 23-22, 14-13, 22-15. The Hogs also won at last year's Great Southern Bowl in overtime. It is this mental edge the Hogs have over everyone in the competition, especially when it comes to grand final day. The last 11 championship games that the Hogs have made, they have emerged victorious. You want to deny them the premiership? Don't allow them to get this far. Ben Martin looking to give the Spartans a spark on the kickback. Gets to about the 24. And already, Nick, a bit of pressure on the Spartans to produce here. This game is getting out of hand and in a hurry.
Absolutely. The Spartans need to settle down, really need to pick up a 1st down. They don't necessarily need to push and get points, because this is just the beginning of the game here. But they need to get some positive momentum on the field here give their defense a chance to rest, and just for their own psyches, have a feeling that things are going to work out all right. 2 receivers each side. Valar, the lone setback. Toss out to Damien Valar. Cuts upfield, bounces off 1 tackle, and picks up the first down. So huge carry for Damien Valar, and that will reset the chains and get the Spartans out near midfield.
Very important settler there for the Spartans to get the carry. Good gain of 13, their best offensive play. Talk us through it, Nick.
Well, the pitch there was to get Valar to the outside away from the box, where Adelaide has all of its linemen and linebackers. If Valar can get momentum going forward, he is a very tough man to bring down. Probably no one better in the competition. If they can get to him early, they can bring him down. Pass that to Martin, and Martin gets to the 40-yard line before being brought down. Gain of about 2, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 8.
So that actually puts the Spartans into positive yardage. They lost a lot on that high punt snap. They've got 1 yard of offense now. The Hogs have 46, including a 6-play, 42-yard touchdown drive.
Well, it's a little cruel when you say it like that, but Spartans moving here. 2nd and 8. See what? Ball goes up. Valar fights through and mashes his way forward for looks like about 2 more. And once again, the key to tackling Damien Valar is to get to him early before he gets that momentum going. Once he does, he will run over the first one that he impacts pretty much every time.
And you can see it was tackling by numbers. Angelo Leonardi, number 60, was one of those.
Spartans 0 for 2 on 3rd down so far. This is the furthest that they've faced. Both previous were 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6 coming up here. 3 receivers on the left. Then Hemmond unloads down the field and picked off at about the 36-yard line, 26-yard line. Michael Baker with the interception, and just like that, that momentum swings back Adelaide's way with the pick on 3rd down, pretty much functioning as a punt. So not the worst situation, but it is something that will have the Spartans hanging their heads a little bit and ask their defense to make a stop.
Well, already the safety issue, and now an intercepted punt. So you're watching the live stream on Facebook Sports.
They're the guys who are talking over. Vi is wrapped up in the backfield, and so both running games are having trouble between the tackles. They're getting their gains going around the outside with little misdirection, but between the tackles, it is tough sledding thus far, loss of 2.
Well, thus far the Hogs 44 yards of offense, 38 on the ground, 6 through the air. This is probably the worst position they've been in on a drive, 2nd and 12.
3 receivers on the left, 1 on the right for Whalebourne.
So they've gone heavy to their left-hand side. And so, of course, throws to the right and completes the catch. Short gain. Spartans weren't fooled by that one, had numbers at the ball. And that looks like Plamondon who made the reception. So 3rd and 9. Probably the longest 3rd down scenario, and just looking around Riverside, a good crowd has gathered around the oval under the trees. They've all come out of their homes, having battened down through the storms of recent days, enjoying a little bit of sunshine here. It is December, it is summertime in Adelaide. Temperature about 23 degrees Celsius at the moment.
Well, it is a little bit of football strategy that Adelaide puts on film quite a bit. Whalebourne tosses out short here, ball comes out, but they'll say it was incomplete. Gordon was quick on the call there, but Adelaide will very often put 3 receivers on one side It looks like we have an injured Spartan down.
Brody Jackman Evans is down being attended to. Gives us a chance almost to take a breath. It has been a full-on game of football so far. The Hogs have come out strong, but now facing a punting scenario.
So to finish my thoughts earlier, Adelaide will put 3 receivers on one side a lot and go to the 1 receiver side on the actual pass. They try to bring as many bodies as possible to the one side, just to try and set up a one-on-one matchup between their favored receiver and defensive back. And that time the Spartans were able to rally men to the ball and get there early.
So there you can see the Spartans sideline. Interesting just looking at the body language there at the moment. I think this has been a big defensive stop. And I think if they're going to get back in the game, Port Adelaide is going to be their defence that will lead the way. Punts it away, nicely done.
Bounces at about the 16-yard line before going out of bounds at about the 13. So excellent kick, pinning the Spartans deep, and the Spartans will have to drive the length of the field if they want to get on the board here.
41-yard punt to go with the 46-yard effort before. I think the breeze is favouring the end that the Hogs are going to. They're going to the northern end of the ground, where you can see the clubhouse there with the pirate ship on the TV. That is the logo for the Port Adelaide Rugby Union Club. This is their home ground. They play during the Australian winter and kindly let us use it during the spring and early summer. So we now finish in December before it gets really hot, as it often does. Plenty of century-degree days Fahrenheit in Adelaide. So that's the northern end. The Spartans are going to the southern end, as the Spartans have called a timeout, I think.
To the Spartans. This is their first timeout for the half.
And I would have thought, Nick, that's not a great sign that they're on song at the moment. Their offense has had 4 or 5 plays on the sideline. They get out there and something's not quite right.
Well, it's the situation pinned up back in their own end zone. They just want to make sure. They want to make sure that they have the right play. They don't want to give up anything. They want to make sure that they can get out of this situation, first of all, without turning the ball over, but get some positive yards out of it. And so, again, you can't take the timeouts with you to the second half, so may as well use them if you need them and just try and settle the offense down a little bit if somebody looks jittery in the huddle.
So we'll see what happens here. The Spartans last year were undefeated through the regular season based on a very strong running attack. They lost in overtime. This year, beat everybody else except these Hogs. It is their last hurdle to get this flag they've been waiting 18 years for, and today's proving tough as that throw looking for Martin, who looks to be the #1 receiving choice over the head and incomplete.
Well, Martin is definitely their most productive receiver in terms of completions and probably yards. Reichstein, number 87, is the one that they go to most often in the red zone, and he has probably their touchdown lead when it comes to receptions. So really 2 big targets that they look for. It'll be interesting to see how they handle a 2nd and 10 where they're a little bit behind the chains. 3 receivers on the right. Toss out, Damien Valar. Spins out of the first tackle, but not able to get that forward momentum going, and looks like he'll gain just about 2. 3rd and 8, and each 3rd down gets longer and longer for the Spartans here. Still haven't picked one up yet.
A quick pitch out by Van Pamela and right on the money, which gave Valar a chance to pick it up running at full speed. Probably the difference between gaining 2 and losing 2. You get the feeling if you're the Hogs defense, you would just assign 1 or 2. Just say, wherever 36 goes, you go 2.
They pretty much assign 6 to that.
Yeah.
Everyone on the line and a couple of linebackers as well. They play cover 1, so only 1 safety back. Hand off to Damien Valar, but he is met in the backfield and dropped for a loss. No, they'll get him right at the line of scrimmage. No gain, and once again, Port Adelaide is going to have to punt it away. Yeah,
we talked before about the clean handoff, and on that occasion wasn't clean. Basically, Valar ran into Van Pamela, and when he had the ball, he had to start. It was a standing start. By the time he got to the line of scrimmage, the Hogs were waiting, no gain. So again, a bit of an interesting situation here. Webb is back. Luckily he's a tall guy because he's been getting high snaps. That one though, right on the money. Gives chance to Webb to show his punting prowess, which he does with a good long kick with a nice Spartans bounce. And that'll be down at the 39-yard line.
34-yard line.
34-yard line, even better.
Webb was the selection for All-State punter. So he is a good one. He has been
43 yards into the breeze.
Oh, that's definitely a solid punt. But Webb has not necessarily gained the most distance, but he has handled snaps and gotten the Spartans out of a lot of jams with his punts, and so that solid play throughout earned him the selection there. Spartans defense needs to see if they can get a stop or ideally get a turnover here, because it has been going all Adelaide's way here early on. 3 receivers on the left. Whalebourne under center. Quick toss out. Barrington makes man miss. Has the first down and more before being dragged down in Spartans territory across the 40 to about the 39-yard line. So big play on first down, and just like that, they are in Spartan territory.
Yep, made 2-3 miss. And you'll see just here, he's happy to help the officials signal where the first down should be. Nice block there as well. I think that was Plemondon with the block to spring him as well. Yeah, first down.
So Adelaide is spreading the ball out early. A little bit of miscommunication in the backfield. They'll have to hurry it up to the line here. They'll go 2 in the backfield, 2 on the left for the first time today.
So Wellborn under centre. Hands off to Henry Olsen, number 15. Tripped up in the backfield and fell forward enough to get back to the line of scrimmage. That was Angus Henderson, number 72, on the toe tapper.
Well, this is something that Adelaide has shown a little bit more of this season. They've always been going to the wide receiver handoffs, the end arounds, but they've developed it a little bit more. They also have plays where he will take the handoff and do a wide receiver pass. So something to keep an eye on as the game goes on. They may be setting something up.
If you just joined us, it's late. I think could be very late in the first quarter.
We have a timeout on the field. And sure enough, that is the end of the first quarter. So the score is Adelaide University 9, Port Adelaide Spartans 0. Adelaide inside Spartans territory, and the Spartans need to get a stop, because this is looking all Adelaide here early on throughout the first quarter.
It is at the moment. The Hogs have had 3 series. They've punted twice, had a 42-yard drive to get the touchdown on the board. As mentioned, if you just joined us earlier, the Spartans got the ball first, didn't go anywhere. It was a high snap, which was down just in the end zone, and that was a safety and 2 points on the board. Very early days. So 9-point game. You can see the Spartans sideline. You can see part of the crowd. Look around. You can see us in the Gridiron SA Media Centre at the truck at the back there. It's a very picturesque ground here at the Riverside Oval on a day like today.
It absolutely is. When it's good, it's good. When it's not so good, then we get a little bit adventurous, because we have a very unique field where the middle is a little bit raised over the sides, so it kind of slopes down.
It's like playing on a rooftop. The ceiling just...
Oh, that's a very good comparison. 2 in the backfield for Whalebourne, 2 receivers on the left. Fakes the handoff to Baez. Quick throw out to Plemondon, but he is dropped. Picture perfect form tackle there by Pele Dan Francesca. And that will bring up 3rd down and about 8.
G'day to Jim O, who's watching in the USA. Don't forget, we're keeping an eye on the chat when the game allows us. So if we're missing something or you've got a question, or just let us know where you're watching from, please do so. We'd love to have you on board, part of our commentary team with Phil Hurden, and calling the play 3rd and 8, you're with Nick Priest.
All right, 2 receivers each side. Baez in the backfield, Whalebourne taking his time under center. Looks to his right, pump fake, goes downfield, but that ball just slid out of his hand, incomplete and short. sets up 4th down, and Adelaide have a little bit of a talk about this one because they're right in that no man's land. The down and distance situation isn't a good one to facilitate going for it, but at the same time, in this end of the field, you're not going to gain all that much by punting. So, interesting situation for Adelaide. Looks like they'll punt.
So DeFrancesca coming off there, trying to fix something off with his gears, had to take off the jersey, the pads, to reset something, which he's done, and we'll be back on field shortly. So you see what the Hogs can do punting. Can they pin the Spartans deep? Not sure about this punt though. It actually could be a good one if it stays in bounds. No. Touchback. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yep.
Not by much. Usually you see them go for the sideline. This took a great bounce, but
no, just nosed into the end zone. Plamondon was down there to try and pull it out, but just wasn't able to wall it off to keep it from going in. And the Spartans will take back over at the 20, needing to get something going here. They got a 1st down on their last drive, but
well, things have settled down. Defenses are doing great on both sides. The Spartans are keeping their team in it by stopping the Hogs on the last 2 drives. Now can the offense for the men in black do something about it? It's 1st and 10 with a touchback. They're at their own 20-yard line. Volar gets the call. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage, falling forward, gains a few, and that was number 69, Tom Rose, one of the captains, one of the veterans for Adelaide Uni.
So Adelaide twisted one of their linebackers inside there, and that opened up a lane for Volar to take the pitch out the other way to pick up those few yards without the contact early.
Glad to hear we're coming in clear and loud and clear in Ontario. It's a long way to travel.
Wow. Adelaide showing pressure again, 2 receivers each side. Handoff and met immediately once again. Just not a lot of room between the tackles for Damian Volar. And that has been the Spartans' bread and butter throughout the seasons. Get the ground game going. Opportunistic passing, we'll say. When you have the opportunity to take a shot, take it. But if they can't get the ground game going, it is a long day at the office for the Spartans. 3rd and 9 is not the situation that they want to be in.
They've lined up with 4 receivers across the field, just Volar in the backfield. 3rd and 9 from the 21. Now Pamela will go back. Gets around the rush, rolls out to his left, decides I've got to keep the ball, gets a good block from Volar, and Van Pemelen takes on the defense, and he is run for a 1st down, Spartans. And there's an injured Hog back, some carnage left behind. That's Brent Zupp, number 59.
And he is the one that Volar just obliterated there. As we said in the open.
So you can see that, of course, Van Pemelen being a righty, running to the left was always going to be problematic throwing on the run. He decided pretty early, I'm going to keep the ball. In fact, just a correction on the injured players, number 58, Hayden Davey.
But this is the different gear that Van Pemelen does bring to the Spartans offense. He can get outside of the pocket and make things happen. Probably the Spartan sideline wishes that he wouldn't make that hurdle attempt there, because they do not want to go to their 3rd string quarterback in the championship game. They are fortunate that they have last year's starter in the championship game to step in here, but they do not want to move down that depth chart because it does not look good. We saw their 3rd string against the Oilers, and turnovers were just everywhere in that one. So,
I mean, the way the season panned out, and it's great to see the injured player Davey up and jogging off. We always knew that this would probably be the matchup, and we've been waiting through the regular season for these two to meet again, and it looked like it'd be a pretty even matchup. Dave Webb came in, gave the offense a little bit more balance. Things went awry 2 weeks ago when they played the Oilers. They'd already locked up a playoff berth, and the Oilers are a physical team. Unfortunately, Webb on an intercept decided he would play tackler, and injured some ribs in that process, and he, whilst punting, is not starting at QB today.
3 receivers on the right for Van Pemelen here. Adelaide shows pressure but backs out of it. Bad snap And Van Pamelin looked to quickly leap back on top of it, but they will likely lose a yard and a down with the trouble with the snap there.
Yeah, Spartans just struggling for some consistency on offense. They've had the drive, they've got the first down, so they've had one good play, one loss, one good play, one well, not loss, but no gain. Just trying to put a drive together of substance. Haven't been on the Hogs side of the field as yet. And that 9 points, it's 2 scores they've got to get.
It is, but they did convert a third down, so spirits can lift a little bit. Again, Adelaide shows pressure, but it's delayed. Valar gets out of the box and gets to about the 47-yard line. Tough running there, and nice gain on second down to bring up third down and manageable. Should be about 3rd and 2 coming up.
Yeah, that's the Damien Valar of last year. Found a gap and charged head like a bull right through it.
So, again, we were saying earlier that every Spartan's third down was longer than the last. It was 4, 4, 6, 8, 9. Now 3rd and 1, and I think that every eye in the Adelaide backfield is focused on number 36.
And so quarterback tries to keep. I don't think he got there. Not much to it. Needed a half yard, and I think he got a quarter.
Well, that is one of the situations where they miss Webb if they're just going to lean forward, because he is a tall man, load to bring down, and can just lean forward for a first. But
so this stage of the game, options are to punt or go for it.
they'll go for it, to have trust in their defense, but the offense needs a jump start. This is just Coach Andy Stevens saying, I believe in you. I believe that we can get this 1 yard and deal with the consequences if we don't. Adelaide showing pressure up the middle. Toss out Damien Valar. Gets the turn, has the first down, and into Adelaide territory. Flag comes in late.
I'll tell you what, it's great looking at the cherry picker that we have here with Spacequake Sports. When you see the replay, there was a huge gap that opened up on the inside.
But I think this will be a holding against the Spartans.
Huge.
And that will...
Holding, 68 on the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot, still 4th down.
Jake Lamming called for the hold there.
And there's
Tackle
your drive
on that
killer.
side, yep. And clearly hooked the hand to make the drive a little bit easier there. And so that changes the equation. 4th and 1 becomes 4th and 11, and Webb comes back on to punt this one away.
So they're going to punt from the 32-yard line.
Second penalty of the day
Both
on the
holds.
Spartans. Kick is up, it is high, it is not particularly long, bounces at the 37, takes a Spartan roll to the 35 before being downed at what looks like the 30.
About a 29-yard punt.
So Adelaide University looking to extend this to a 3-possession game. It has been all Adelaide University early, but things starting to settle a little bit for the Spartans here in the second quarter. They can get a stop, keep that momentum going. But Adelaide has weapons all over the field, and Whalebourne is certainly adept at getting to them. 2 receivers each side.
1st and 10.
Handoff, Baez bounces off his tackle, spins out of one tackle, and manages to fight his way forward for 3 yards after the contact there. Very, very tough running by Baez, showing why he was the state selection at running back. Just pretty much dead to rights there. Spins out and still keeps the legs churning and ends up with a 6-yard gain when he was looking at 2.
Really enjoying this vision from Spacequake Sports. You get to see it from this ground level. And in the end, it was Brad Vergara, one of the Spartan captains. Almost like he was just hanging on.
Absolutely, and sometimes that's what you need to do. Just hang on and let other people clean up for you.
2nd down and 4. As Whalebourne
sets up the screen, same thing that they scored on.
1st down. Flag on the play.
gets the first down, but yes, flag down on the play. Same little tunnel screen that they scored on before, but this one may be coming back.
So, g'day to Jim in the US, who's loving the production, enjoying the physique
Illegal
out
block in
there.
the back. Number 10 on the offense. Yards from the previous spot, still second down.
You should check out the commentary box.
So, second penalty of the day on Adelaide University. This one a block in the back. You can see it. No, couldn't quite see it on that play there, but go for this one. And there we have it. So, 10 yards back, Adelaide will be looking at 2nd and 15.
Ball marked at the 25-yard line. As you can see, decent group of people watching under the trees on the Hogs sideline. Plenty more on the Spartans sideline today. Not that that's a sign of the support level as Wellborn goes here, tipped and intercepted.
And this is the break that the Spartans have been looking for.
We said it would have to come from the defence, and that's where it is. Number 88, John Riddington, gives the Spartans offense an opportunity. 1st and 10 at the Hogs 27-yard line.
And Riddington, with his 11th interception of the year, could not have come at a more fortuitous time for the Spartans.
Well, that's 1 interception each thus far. Not quite the turnover fest we had in the prelim final. There was 11 turnovers last week.
So Barrington was the target on that one. He tipped it up, he couldn't bring it in, only got one hand on it, and the one hand he got tipped it to the safety. Now Van Pamelen under center, Adelaide showing pressure, quick toss out, batted down at the line, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up for Port Adelaide. So
just for those watching for maybe the first time, what level of competition? Look, this is pay-to-play suburban football. This is a 5-team competition in Adelaide. Probably about 160, 180 players in total that pay money. It's amateur level, but the best of this group represent the state in the Australian Gridiron League, and some of those represent Australia in international competition. So some are elite, some are amateur. It's a great diverse mix we have.
Damien Vollard gets the handoff there and grinds out a couple. Not a lot of running room there. They'll give him about 4 on the carry. So brings up 3rd and not too bad, but you got to figure this is 4-down territory for the Spartans. With Webb's uncertain situation.
That said, it's early days. If they get close and face 4th down, it's a 2-score game. Do they try the field goal to bring it within 6?
Well, it depends on what they think about Reichstein's accuracy.
Right now, though, 3rd and 7. This is the play of the moment, and they're going for it all towards the end zone. Intercepted by Olsen. He's going to bring it back down the Hogs sideline, and he is still going. He's back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, looks like he got to about the 30. But Olsen just pretty much ran the receiver's route for him, was right there, right underneath Martin, and there was no one who was going to come down with that one other than a man wearing maroon.
Yeah, had the inside on Martin and got some good blocking. And so rather than taking the touchback, he said, I can return it back to about the 28-yard line.
No, but that was the right place to be, John.
And, well, a couple of turnovers each. Still a 9-point ball game. And you'd have to say the defenses are dominating.
Absolutely, and that is what you get a lot when these two teams play. Defenses start strong. Baez strings this handout out before turning the corner. Flag down in the backfield. Baez into the open field. Makes a man miss and may take it into the end zone, but I think this one is coming back. This is a tremendous run by Baez, but it may come for naught because there is a flag down back at the 25-yard line.
And I think he's just seen the flag.
Tremendous 60-yard run for a touchdown.
Here's the big call.
Personal foul, face mask, number 38 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
And just like that, it is a 3-score game, or, well, still a 2-score game for the moment, but Tremendous, tremendous run by Valles.
Yep, and that's why you play it all the way through. 62-yard run. And Valles maybe an early favourite for the game MVP, with no doubt the play of the day. Two big ones back to back. The intercept by Olsen and the long run by Valles.
And just like that, kick is up. It looks good from here. Sure enough, it is true. And
16-0.
16-0. Still a two-score game. So not the worst situation for Port Adelaide to be in. It's still 2 scores. They know what they need to do.
So an interesting concept there, because of course, Nick, your background, you've coached football. In that scenario, I mean, there's a lot that goes through your mind. Would you have said, well, look, okay, we're up 15-0. If we go for 2, that's 17, and that's 3 scores. Would you have considered going for 2?
Well, I might have considered it, but it's early in the game, and you want to force the other team to go for 2. If you go for 2 and you don't get it, then all of a sudden the other team is in a much better situation. You keep the pressure on, especially if you're sure of your kicker. And in that situation, it's 2 scores, but it's 2 scores and 2 two-point conversions. And if you have faith in your defense, you don't necessarily need to be aggressive when you are the favorite.
Back underway at Riverside. Ben Martin has it in the hands for the Spartans and has a hole up the middle.
Through to the second level, Martin with a huge return down to about the 40-yard line. And if he didn't get tripped up right there, he may have gone all the way.
You can see here, waiting for some blockers to come up, and bang, he just slipped around the back of one.
So, best starting field position of the day other than the interception for the Spartans.
He really only had one more man to beat. Spartans with the ball. Offense starting to show something. 1st and 10 at the 40. Their own 40. They go to Volar, first down, tries to break the corner, which he does. Takes a hog with him, gets to the midfield. And that's going to be a gain of just over 5, and there is an injured Spartan down, and that does not look good. That is John Foreman, terror number 12. And whenever you see a player thumping in the ground, he's in a bit of pain and might be good to go to the replay.
So pitch out to Volar, all clear through here, and
that seemed to be something well off the ball.
Looks like maybe he was blocked down and just landed poorly. Oh, may have been an ankle there.
Just some legs caught up.
Nothing malicious in this case, so hopefully he will be back into it. But yes, it definitely indicating his ankle, and that looks to be the situation here as we take a little break. So
big day in Australian Gridiron. There's also one other championship game on today. That's in New South Wales. That'll be underway about an hour from now. The Waratah Bowl, as they call it, the Championship of New South Wales. 2 old rivals going at it. Always call them the Bondi Raiders, and now the University of New South Wales Raiders. They're up against the Sydney University Lions. I don't know what it's about these university teams, Nick, but we've got Adelaide University going for their 25th flag. The Sydney Uni, not as many titles, but they're going for 16 in a row.
oh my goodness, that is certainly dominance that you don't see often in this sport. It's cyclical.
I mean, that's a generation or two of players, and Gridiron SA, it's a 5-team comp, so you can understand why teams will dominate over a period. Dominating for 34 years is something else.
It absolutely is. Adelaide has been a cut above since day one, and everyone else has been playing catch up ever since. They have the backing of Adelaide University now, so more stalwart advantage. Beautiful situation here as we have a look at the Riverside Oval.
Adelaide Hills, Mount Lofty in the background. We do call it Mount Lofty by Adelaide standards, it is the highest thing we've got.
Absolutely.
Just a bit of a mound for some people who live in the more mountainous regions of the country. Might mention the All-Star Awards were nominated, and congratulations first and foremost to the MVP this season, Josh Long from the Uni SA Eagles, as commentary comes off, and also the offensive MVP. And a well picked, Nick, because as we do the PA here each week, you said he was the MVP favourite, and well deserved.
Well, absolutely. When it comes to most value, as in what the team would be without him on it,
Exactly.
I think that there was no question that Josh Long was the man this season, as he put together just an absolutely man-some performance in just about every game. And even in the one game where he was kind of slowed, there was so much attention paid to him that it opened up the entire offense for everything up. 2nd and 5 after the break. See Valar burst through a hole there, little counter play, has the first down and looks like 2 more. So gain of 7 on the play.
So just get the feeling that slowly but surely the Spartans are getting themselves back into the contest. That touchdown run, well, I guess the key thing is it kept it a 2-score game to a point.
Well, it kept
Or
it
3 scores to win, I guess.
I think that the big thing that it did was it was a quick score, and that's always something frustrating, but it let the Spartans offense get right back out on the field. They didn't have to sit and watch. They didn't wear their defense out. Valar again with the pitch and the carry, and we will be calling his name all day today, as
he's just getting into some rhythm, I think.
Absolutely. He was not the starter to start the season, as the Spartans were trying to conserve him, keep him fresh. Isaac Masalam took the lion's share of the carries throughout the Spartans' first 6 games. He went off with an injury, and Valar has once again settled back in and will just refuse to come out. And it's hard to take out the 2017 MVP. Again, miscommunication on the handoff there. Valar, we talk a lot about the first contact there, but the first contact there was with his quarterback.
Yes, this is not one for your highlights. Maybe the funnies. Yeah, kaboom.
So loss of 2, 3rd and 6 coming up.
Mind you, Carl Woodruff, number 65. He is always into it. As one of the nose tackle of the defence. So a big 3rd down here.
Spartans 1 for 6 thus far on 3rd down.
It's really staggering. They are a running team. They've got 4 receivers, 3 on the far side, 3rd and 7.
Adelaide showing pressure. Trouble with the snap. Van Pemelen strings it out, throws it out, but was out of the pocket, but he is down and slow to get up.
Alex Barone laid a lick.
Now he's up, he's all right, so that is everyone in black breathing a sigh of relief.
I mean, you've got to protect the quarterback, but if he's going to roll out and he's going to throw under pressure, that means he's open to be hit.
Absolutely, and the key there is that he got out of the pocket and threw the ball in advance of the line of scrimmage, so no foul for intentional grounding.
2-minute warning. 1 minute 14 remaining.
So as expected, with both teams running the ball, the clock's been going through pretty quickly. So 2-minute warning here. Chance for the Spartans to pin the Hogs deep and maybe unleash the defense to try and create something.
Absolutely. If he can get after Whalebourne, he will throw interceptions occasionally.
Doesn't usually keep the ball long enough to do that though. Webb aiming for the coffin corner, end over end kick bounce, pretty good. Inside the 5. That's pinpoint perfect. Hogs 1st and 10 from the 3, and Whalebourne will be backing into his end zone.
It was, and Adelaide came after it if you see the replay. They had 5 guys hitting that shield wall. Just absolutely swarmed. Webb did well to get it out. If that had been another high snap, I think that they would have gotten to it. But in this situation, Webb patient, perfect placement on that punt, and that is why he is the All-State punter.
Indeed.
Just hits the referee in the shoe on the sideline there.
So you're the coach of the Hogs right now. You have a 16-point lead in a slightly precarious spot, field position-wise. You're going to go conservative or just play it normal?
Well, Baez kind of changes the equation a little bit, and they're going with 3 backs, which is something we haven't seen from them all season. A little bit of misdirection, and pick up a few yards. I think that they will give the ball to Baez, see if something comes out of it, but they definitely don't want to risk throwing the interception, because that will almost certainly result in points on the board for the Spartans. So, be conservative. You have the timeouts if you burst for a first down where you could think about it, but just, you're up 16-0, you're feeling confident.
Yeah.
All of the history says that you are in control of this game.
I'll tell you what, through this season though, we have seen a lot of crazy stuff in the last 2 minutes of the first half.
We absolutely, absolutely have. It has been something to watch. Baez on the pitch, fights his way through, reverses field, flag down on the far side here. So this one may be coming back, but tough running by Baez. Gain of about 6, but flag down. Let's see what the call is.
Holding. Number 74 on the defence. 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Defensive holding is the call, and that is an interesting one. Especially for someone wearing number 74, Jonathan Barron, one of the captains for the Spartans. But generally, it's a very rare call to have a defensive lineman called for defensive holding.
Just looking at the helmet there, the Hogs number 77, which
Gavin
is Gavin
Jones.
Jones, one of the captains. That helmet has played some games.
Well loved.
Not well maintained, but
Well,
well loved.
No.
I
It's
guess
maintained as long as the shell is intact.
they're
Why
the,
not?
the souvenirs of battle, I guess.
Absolutely. And so first down for Adelaide Uni. Still flag on the field, so officials conversing and sorting out just what they're going to do here. Under 2 minutes left to play in the half. Once again, Adelaide out in front, 16-0. Slight readjustment of the ball there. Before finally the flag is picked up. And we will get ready to roll here. Adelaide ball at about the 15-yard line.
So 16-point lead, they've got out of danger. First and 10 from their own 15-yard line. Half-time is imminent. They'll go with the running play. This is to the Nunawading Warrior player in Taylor Barrington. Similar coast, slightly different decal. I believe that's the Nunawading Warriors, who made it to the Vic Bowl. That's the Grand Championship game in Victoria. Surprise, surprise. So lost the Crusaders, and that'll do it. That is half-time in the Great Southern Bowl. Thanks to Spacequake Sports. Hope you are enjoying the coverage. You can see the scores there. It is 16 to the Hogs. They're on their verge of that 25th flag. The Spartans have got some work to do. They are a donut thus far. This is Phil Hurd and Nick Priest. Any thoughts before we take a halftime break, Nick?
Well, it will be interesting to see how Adelaide does coming out of the half. They will get the ball to start off. The Spartans will need to get a stop and really cannot allow this lead to get much bigger, because they are a running team, and running takes time off the clock. If they're going to get into this game, they need to do it in a hurry.
Alrighty, we'll take a break. Halftime here. This is the Great Southern Bowl, thanks to Spacequake Sports. Well, g'day football fans. You're looking live at the Riverside Oval, or at least the Spartans sideline. You can see one of our scaffolding there with the Spacequake sports team bringing you the Great Southern Bowl, the South Australian Gridiron Grand Final. We've been going for 34 seasons here in Adelaide, the capital of South Australia. There's Dave Webb, the quarterback. Well, he was hoping to be, but copped an injury 2 weeks ago, relegated to just being the punter at the moment. As we look across at the Pirate Club rooms, he was looking there at the buildings of Port Adelaide, one of the oldest parts of the city. Adelaide founded in 1836, Gridiron commencing in 1986. The game itself is at an interesting position, 16-0 in favour of the Hogs, courtesy of a safety, touchdown catch and a long touchdown run by Varys. It isn't technically, Nick Priest, a 2-touchdown game. I get the feeling one more score and the Hogs can take the cup home.
Absolutely, because the Spartans are not built to come back from a deficit like this. They rely on the ground game too much. It was a very quick first half, just because both teams were running the ball successfully. But for the Spartans to get back in this game, they need some big plays on the ground, and they need time in order to get those going. So
this is almost New England Patriots-like. The Hogs won the toss, they deferred to the second half. It happens in most Gridiron SA games. They have the lead and they'll get first use of the ball.
Reichstein punches it down the field, bounces it about the 9-yard line, picked up, and again they're doing that little attempted reverse, but having already put it on film, no one was fooled the second time around, and as a result, Adelaide will start this possession at about the 10-yard line. So, tough situation for Adelaide to start this one off, and a great chance for Port Adelaide to get a stop and get back into this one.
And Spartan strength is their defence, and that little attempted reverse didn't work the first time, didn't work the second. I reckon that would have cost them at least 15 yards at least. But it's 1st and 10 from the 10.
Well, sometimes as a coach, you just practice something and think, we've got to do it. So, maybe not the best situation to try it in, but here we go. 2 receivers each side for Whalebourne. Pitch out, Vaez has the corner, cuts back, very dangerous in the open field, and grinds out to about the first down yarder, maybe just shy. Looks like he gained 9 on the run. So,
you can see there some of the blocking, and Vaez off to the races, leading Russia today by quite some margin, courtesy of a 62-yard touchdown run that really broke this game open.
The big key was just he was alone in the backfield for so long. That was a very deep pitch, very, very deep, but he was unmolested and was able to set up his blockers and move down the field and pick up those 9 yards. 2nd and 1.
So ball is at the 20-yard line. They'll go to the ground again. They'll get the first down. Here comes some bonus yardage. And eventually standing on the sideline, introducing himself to Australian rep number 24, Ryan Ottens of the Spartans. He's probably thinking, I don't really want to be tackling this guy too much this afternoon.
So 10-yard run on 2nd and 1. Fresh set of downs, and Adelaide University is grinding down the field very effectively thus far.
They are one good drive away from premiership number 25 for mine. They have the lead, they have the ball.
Well, the math is just entirely off. The Adelaide has been spreading the field. Now, deep connection. Looks like he came down with that one. Did Mitchell Olive. And so 3 plays of 9 yards or more all in a row, and Adelaide University has it going on here to start the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, they've got the balance working beautifully. Vaez on the run, setting up the chance to hurl it downfield. They are in Spartans territory at the 41, early stages of the 3rd quarter. 16-point lead.
3 receivers, little trickeration getting it to Barrington in the backfield, but no time for anything to come of it, as the Spartan secondary was there in a hurry. And that is why Valles has been having so much room to run around, because the Spartans defense is spreading itself to cover all of these receivers. Adelaide has torn up the league through the air this year, but on that occasion, Spartans had numbers at the point of attack and were able to drop him for a loss of 4.
Brody Jackman Evans, number 96, first one there for the Spartans, who've finally got the Hogs in a long yardage situation. 2nd down and 13, just the Spartan side of midfield. Wellborn will take the pitch, looking out there, a bit of a high one, which could have been picked off, intended for Mitch Olive, working the Spartan sideline this time, incomplete. Stops the clock. The other thing about the first half, Nick, it was a quick half by Gridiron SA standards.
Absolutely, because both teams were running the ball effectively, completing passes, and when the ball isn't hitting the dirt a lot, then things tend to move fairly quickly. Now, in the 3rd quarter, Adelaide facing its longest 3rd down of the day, 3rd and 14. They have not picked up a 3rd down yet, so 0 for 3 thus far. Will be an opportune time to pick one up here at midfield. Fakes the handoff, does Whalebourne, sets up the screen. Plamondon gets to the original line of scrimmage, but not much more. Gain of about 7.
Well, Spartans D.
No, they'll say he stepped out for about 5. So
4th and 9. You're at the 40. You've got the option of punting, putting the Spartans deep, or actually do you have a shot here?
I would probably punt it, because the defense has been playing well, and you don't want to give the Spartans the ball with a shorter field, but especially looking at 4th and 9.
They are going for it.
Absolutely, offense staying on the field.
So Hogs need 9 yards to keep the ball, otherwise Spartans get it back. They'll go with the end around to Olsen, who has some running room on the Spartan sideline. One to beat. He has the first down, or did he step out of bounds? He did, and it's short. Oh, he tiptoed with that boundary sideline. You'll see this right now coming up. Dicing and... oh, that was very close.
But the referee's indication is Spartan's ball, and so that is what it will be at about the 32-yard line.
Okay, that's where you can see the official saw the step on the line. Of course, you don't have to have the foot over the line, just any part of that shoe touches the chalk. That is deemed to be out of bounds. So Spartans D have come up strong. Can their offense put something together and make this a championship game? Again, 1 runner in the backfield, 4 receivers. Interesting formation for a strong running attack.
Adelaide shows pressure and flag down, but yes, they hope to take as many bodies away from the box as possible, try and spread Adelaide out so that Valar can...
Equipment violation, number 56 on the offense. They'll be charged with a timeout.
All right, so Muldoon out of formation there. Spartans will lose one of the timeouts, which could loom large if this game tightens up a little bit.
Each team has 3 per half. Not usually an issue in the first half, can be in the second. 1st and 10. Van Pamelin goes for the long pass, looking for Mark, has the catch!
And
great hands under pressure.
it is impossible to overstate how big of a play that is for the Spartans, not only just to get the yardage, but just to get Adelaide to back up a little bit, because they have been loading the box, they have been bringing pressure up the middle, they have not been afraid of the passing game all day today, and with that one strike, with one play, all of a sudden that dynamic changes a little bit. Adelaide has to be a little bit more aware of where 22 is. So big play. Spartans now set up 1st and 10 in Adelaide territory.
That's what I call a very Aussie reception. And of course, Spartans offense have struggled to put 2 plays together. The ball is on the grass and the Hogs have it.
That was another miscommunication between Van Pamelin and Valar. Just the handoff was there. Valar had already lowered his shoulder to initiate contact with someone, and that ball just came out all over the place.
Well, you can probably give Angelo Leonardi a little bit of credit for that because he was in the backfield in a hurry. Tom Rose, number 69 for the Hogs, picked up the fumble, but I think the fact that Leonardi was just roaming around almost took the hand off himself.
Absolutely, and this is just something that we've seen time and time again from the Spartans. Just that miscommunication with the new quarterback means that things are just that little bit off, and that makes a huge difference. 1st and 10, Whalebourne under pressure for the first time today and goes down in the backfield. Spartans have not gotten to him thus far, but in this indication,
yeah, that was a different type of quarterback scramble, wasn't it?
absolutely tripped up for a loss of 1.
16 points the margin. We are midway through the 3rd quarter. The Hogs with their 2nd series with the ball. They'll line up with 3 receivers on their right-hand side, run runner down close. And the Valles, who gets past Barron, looks to break this corner on the far side, but good pursuit, good holding the edge. That I think was John Riddington.
Flag came out late on the Adelaide sideline.
Hogs are cheering.
And tempers may be flaring a little bit for the men in black.
We saw it early with the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty with the safety on the game's, 4th play.
Tempers are always a little bit higher in a championship game situation.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And
I remember one grand final, year 5, I think, year 4. The team I was with at the time, 3 players ejected, and we lost.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 82 on the defence. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
So it wasn't the fact that we'd lost 3rd grand final from 3. And usually when you lose a grand final, you go away, you have a drink, you lick your wounds, and you start planning for next season. It was the fact that we had 3 players ejected, and then had to front the tribunal hearing. Oof. Just increase the pain that little bit more. Hopefully no ejections today, 1st and 10.
Brad Vigera with the penalty there, the 3rd personal foul of the day on the Spartans. Oh, a tremendous grab by Plemondon there to come down with that one. And once again, Adelaide knocking on the door of the red zone. This is a very strong drive by Adelaide, and
they are seriously winning the battle of the air. The height of the Hogs receivers showing some clean hands. I mean, the coverage is there. The ball's just put where the receivers, only the receiver's going to make the catch.
Absolutely. Whalebourne does not like to throw when he's not sure. He sets up the coverage with how he lines up the receivers and knows where he's going with the ball almost before the ball is snapped. Down the sideline here into the end zone, and had Plamondon, but Plamondon was unable to come down with that one. Incomplete. 2nd down.
That could have been the championship right there. Again, a beautiful throw. That was right on the money. Right on that little black V, which is really annoying when you're trying to work out the numbers.
Well,
of course, the black V is there because it recognises the link that the Hogs have with the Adelaide University. They started off in 1985. The league started March 85, played first games January 86. And it was the East Side Razorbacks. About 5 years back, they teamed up with Adelaide University, who are black and white. So that's the recognition of the Uni League.
Valles fights. That was a tremendous lick that he laid on number 82, Brad Vigera.
You'd have to say that the Hogs have lost nothing of their traditional record of success, having teamed up with Adelaide Uni. They have a full roster of 46 players and plenty of extras who don't get to suit up today. Spartans have a reasonably list, but only suiting up 30 this afternoon, and that's above the league average, which is probably in the high 20s. But right now, 3rd and 7.
So 3 receivers on the right for Whalebourne, 1 receiver on the left. Looks for Olive there. Goes a little bit behind him, and did he come down with it? They say that he did. So tremendous concentration there by Olive to come down with that one, and just like that, Adelaide looks like they've got an and goal to go situation here at about the 8-yard line.
He's not a run and carry. Exactly. Because Bunting can, but he's not a run and carry. Especially now.
Spartans D, they've been out there a lot.
Absolutely, and in a situation like this where it's very nice, sun beating down, wearing black, you can get a little bit worn out when you're on the field and can't take your helmet off.
Yeah, we're a summer league. Black, an interesting colour choice, but they've had it for 34 years. Should be used to it. Well blown to the end zone, almost picked off. Intended for, well, Trent Allen got there for the Spartans, intended for Taylor Barrington. 3rd and goal. Of course, should they not get it on this, you'd think they'd try the field goal. They've kicked 2 this year. Just extend that lead over the 16 and 3 scores.
So Barrington looking for a flag there, but certainly none was in the offset. The defensive back does have a right to space as well. So 2nd and goal. Quick toss, but this one batted down at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. And we'll be looking at 3rd and goal. Adelaide looking to pick up their first 3rd down of the day. They'll be looking at 3rd and goal.
Now, big games have big moments, and I think we've arrived at one.
Absolutely. If Spartans can force the field goal attempt here, giant win for them. They still would need 3 scores, but keeping them out of the end zone here is a win spiritually as well as physically.
So it's Pamelaton who's at quarterback. Hands off to Valles. Spartans are awake to that. The cavalry arrives, and we have a 4th down decision coming up. So that was Tyler Riddington and Jackman Evans on the stop.
Looked like they gained 1 on the play, and
here comes the field goal team, I think.
Yep, and this is one of the key moments of the game. Kicking is always an adventure in this league. No one feels particularly good about it or automatic, but this is a tremendous moment in the game for the Spartans and a chance to really try and clinch things for Adelaide University.
26-yard attempt.
Kick is up, and it is good. So the lead is extended, 19 to Adelaide University. Still nothing for the Spartans here in the 3rd quarter, and time beginning to be a pressing issue for the men in black.
Well, there are some teams in this league that we know can score from anywhere and score quickly. Spartans are not really that team.
Absolutely not. They want to establish that ground game. They want to take the lead early, and they want to grind out the clock. Not the sort of situation or team where you want to be fighting from behind, having to throw for the lead, especially with a backup quarterback in there.
So that is the Hogs' 2nd field goal of the season. We do not see a lot. The Spartans have kicked 3 themselves. I said kicking an adventure at Australian Gridiron. And yes, the chat pretty much coming to the conclusion we are that the men in white have prime position. Long kick into the end zone. Martin decides to field it, take a knee, and it will be Spartans 1st and 10 from the 20, needing to get something going and going quickly. So coming into this game, the Hogs 24 premierships, the most in Australian Gridiron. Australia, well, it's a big country. It's a continent, it's a country. It has 6 states and 2 territories, and each have their own, outside of the Northern Territory, each has their own gridiron competition, usually based around the capital city. Queensland has 2, one southeast, one north. So they play suburban and they get together, play state, and then out of that make an Australian team. So it's incomplete pass, and the seasons vary. Victoria is usually the early starters. They're usually in about May to September, and then New South Wales and Queensland and SA get going, and they've all finished in recent weeks. And WA, I think, are the latest starters, and they'll go through to about February.
Well, I think that it all depends on how much competition they feel that they can take from footy. There's a whole lot of overlap between the players, especially here in the state of South Australia, where you don't want to have a whole bunch of games before or during the footy season because you aren't going to get the players out. Valar with the pitch out there, gains back to the original line of scrimmage, not much more, and we'll be looking at 3rd and 9 for the Spartans. No, yeah, 3rd and 9 for the Spartans, and a situation that they really need to capitalize on.
So the Gridiron SA season used to run from early November through until March. It was pretty much the non-football window, non-footy window. But as things got hotter and became more aware of playing this sport in intense dry heat, season moved a bit. There's your sack! Big 3rd down play by the Hogs.
Thomas Rose with the sack there, just coming up pretty much unchecked on the edge there, and that will bring the punt team on for the Spartans. As aggressive as you may need to be down 3 scores, you don't want to be trying to pick up 4th and 15 from deep in your own territory.
So Webb will be punting into the breeze. These two sides have played 4 consecutive classics, very close games. I think Spartans led in almost all of them at some point. Hogs found a way to win. We were due for a blowout, and that's what this one looks at the moment, as the punt will be down in Spartan territory at the 38-yard line. Hogs ball and a chance to put this beyond all doubt.
And I imagine that the coach will have a chat with 84 Josh Ferreira there, who got way too close to that punt. Because if he touches it, that ball is live.
Yep.
And this would be a huge break for the Spartans to get the ball back there. So, fortunate for Adelaide that it did not, but teaching moment on the Adelaide sidelines.
So while we have you in the team, Nick, to give us that coaching perspective. And, yes, definitely 2 different sidelines at the moment. Hogs 1st and 10 from the Spartan 36.
All right, 2 receivers each side. Lots of space between the receivers on the left. Whalebourne takes use of it. Quick toss out. Was looking for Morton, but that is incomplete.
We need to get Morton a reception, just for Grandma Julia watching in Ontario. I think he did have a reception early, but it was behind the line of scrimmage, so a loss on the play.
Well, plenty of time left in this one to get him some touches, but it's interesting to watch the spacing that the Adelaide puts between its receivers. Again, huge gap between Barrington and number 14 there. Quick toss out to the other way. Plamondon is the target once again. Pickup of about 5.
Really impressed by their passing attack. Look, they haven't had the breakout long distance passing play, but their short yardage stuff is exceptional.
It is, and just throwing it deep, let a very dangerous crew of receivers in the open field just have a chance to make something happen after the hatch, and if not, then it's still just 3rd and 5. You can live with that.
Yeah.
3 receivers on the left for Adelaide here. Whalebourne signals to his receiver on the far side. Toss back to Barrington, and incomplete. No one fooled on that one, as Spartans Riddington was right there to make the tackle, even if he had made the completion. So
Yes, and Lance Cummings makes the note about 87 being a different colour. Well, that's actually 82 in terms of the Hogs, which is Barrington. That's a helmet. You can see the W with the sword. That is the Nunawading Warriors of the Victorian competition. And I'm not sure if Barrington's over for a visit for a few weeks. He's had to have played at least 3 games to have qualified to play today, so hasn't just travelled for the weekend.
So 4th and 5, Adelaide keeps the offense on the field, looking to knock this one out. Catch made near the sticks. This one will be close.
I reckon
Looks by the spot that they are going to give it to him. but it is close. The indication is first down, Adelaide University, but that is about as close as you come.
And I'm just going to say I think they got a good spot.
Well, it's where he made the catch.
Oh, okay, but it's where the knees hit the ground.
Well, if he comes back forward, it depends on whether or not he's contacted or whether or not they rule that he came forward on his own or whether he was shoved forward.
Okay.
And so that is a bit of a judgment call. Could go either way, but give the referees the benefit of the doubt on this one.
I'm just saying that one went the benefit of the doubt. That went the Hogs' way, no doubt about it, as Valles picks up a passenger and heads to the red zone.
Valles has been the big difference maker so far today because the Spartans have just spread that defense out to contain all of these receivers that Adelaide puts out on the field, and Valles has been the beneficiary, chewing up things on the ground, picking up 6 yards there, setting up 2nd and 4.
The Hogs won their first 9 games this season, but they weren't. Only probably 2 games were by huge margins. There was about 4 in a row they trailed in the 4th quarter, and then Valles got a lot of the ball, and they would just like go up about 2 gears. Speaking of which, he's taking on 1, 2, 3, and he is down to about the 15. We do have flags, a little bit of extracurricular. Another helmet comes off.
And
Second
referees
time
will
that's
need to get
happened
in
to Valles.
between Jake Lemming having words.
Looking for his mouth guard. So let's have a look at this one on the Spacequake Sports replay.
So stiff arm there by Valles, fights out of 1 tackle, slips through, knee eventually goes down there, and
Don't know what's happening in the middle of that for him to lose his helmet.
Personal foul, face mask, number 68 on the defence. That penalty will be assessed as half distance to the goal. First down.
so Jake Lemming called for the face mask there as the helmet did come off. There it is.
There it is.
So yes, that is good pickup by the officials. 1st and goal for Adelaide University, and that is the 4th personal foul of the day on the Spartans. And that has been one of the big differences. Adelaide has only committed 2 penalties of any variety. Whalebone into the end zone, tipped up, incomplete. But 2 penalties for Adelaide University, 6 for the Spartans, and they're going to need to keep cool heads if they're going to get back into this one.
I was about to say, don't get ejected because you'll miss the next game, and it could be a big one. Well, maybe not, because it'll be first week next season.
Over there by the scoreboard, we can have a look at the Southern District Oilers, who have set up their own pavilion. Hi, guys.
Yeah, they've set up close to the bar. That's a big surprise.
Well, whether they're in the grand final or not, there's one thing that you can count on. The Oilers will win the drinking.
They will indeed. 2nd and goal. Hogs knocking on the door. Here's a completed pass. Look for the end zone, and there is your championship. Plamondon.
Once again, that's the same play that they used to score their first touchdown. Plamondon on that little tunnel screen, coming underneath the other receivers before turning upfield. Spartans just had to put more attention in the box because Valles was killing them, and just a little bit short-handed to try and tackle Plamondon there.
Yeah, so a couple of comments on the chat. Yeah, this is pay to play, folks. This is going out to shopping centres and putting up posters and saying, come and try American football. And quite a few more go on and play for their state, South Australia, the Sharks.
Illegal substitution on the offence. 5-yard penalty, replay the try.
And of course, playing for your state, you pay to play. And then if you're really good, you might get picked for the Outback, which is the Australian national team. And guess what? When the Outback travel overseas to play, you pay to play for the Outback.
Well, that is the situation that it is, and small price to pay to represent the country.
Nice
That
kick.
one looks good. Mitchell Olive putting it through the uprights there, and it is 26-0, Adelaide out in front.
And we are not even at three-quarter time at this point. You got any good jokes for the final quarter, Nick?
Oh, you know, I've always got something in the holster, but it'll be interesting to see.
Something in the holster.
Oh, well.
Spoken like a man from TCU.
Well, absolutely. A Texas man has to carry himself in a certain way.
That's it. Alrighty. So let's see if the Spartans, right now it's a case of, can we actually put some points on the scoreboard? This is turning into a pretty dark day. Another long kick. Martin sees this. Nice grab over his head. Not easy to do with shoulder pads on. He's going to get the run back and eventually brought down at the 25-yard line. Late flag, some extracurricular activity downfield. We have a look at Wellborn's passing play here. You can see the Spartans, they got through the line easily, but not enough time to make distance. Plamondon, 1, 2. By the time the third, well, that's 3 misses. And he says, you want to tackle me? You're going to try and tackle me? Nah, not today, mate.
So flag down at the 25-yard line, which we will discuss. Referee's trying to keep this one from getting out of hand personally, as tempers flare, as the score tends to inflate, especially in a championship game where the frustration is just at a whole nother level, because these guys know that it will be a long 9 months before they suit up and take the field again.
Woke up this morning with the dreams of a championship, and personally I've been on the wrong side of a grand final on more occasions than I care to think about it, and it's one of the most frustrating feelings I know, because you know the effort that's gone in to get to this point. You know that you've fallen just short
on the returning team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And you know that you've got to go through it all over again to get another shot.
It is, and in some situations you almost feel better losing the semifinal, because that's still something to build on, made the playoffs. But when you come up short in the championship game, it can be draining.
It is an interesting concept that the second best team often feels like the worst team.
Absolutely, it is a cruel game that we play here. Wasallam with the touch here. Big run there.
Looks
like
timeout called by the officials as an injured injured hog. Wasallam, don't be surprised he's a bit of an angry ant, because he's had to watch this grand final from the sideline pretty much. He's sort of been used as we have the three-quarter time signal. 26-0 to the Hogs. Got a lot of the workload early as they were saving Volar, but as a 1-2 punch, it was formidable.
It absolutely was. Just especially because Volar plays on the defense as well at defensive tackle and was an all-state selection there. So anytime you can give him on the sideline to rest and keep those legs fresh is good. So it's been a surprise that Port Adelaide has gone away from the two-back look or just the rotation there so much in this second half of the season. But they figure Volar was the MVP last year and counting on him to make all the difference.
Might just, as we have a break, mention some of the All-Star Award winners announced during the year. On the offensive side, a couple of Hogs there. You've seen them in action. Josh Wellborn, the All-Star quarterback. Jaden Valles at running back. Josh Long, Uni SA Eagles, the wide receiver running back combination. At wide receiver, well, Sammy Morton and Brendan Plamondon. Also Seb Burford from the Eagles. On the offensive line, you don't see much, but they get the credit with the All-Star team. It is Gavin Jones, Dylan Tyrrell from the Oilers, Scott Muldoon from the Spartans, Hugh Stevens from the Chiefs, and Andrew Stevens, the Australian rep coach and captain of the Spartans. So we have a look at one of the plays of the day here. Probably unfair to say it was the winning touchdown, but you saw the Spartans rush. Nice catch. And then eat my dust.
And Plamondon has done that twice, and that has been the big difference for Adelaide University. Just him making plays in space, taking it into the end zone.
Defensively, Jaden Val is getting dual All-Stars on defence, along with Josh Dyack from the Eagles, Damien Volar from the Spartans on the defensive line, along with Andrew Seabone from the Eagles. The linebackers, Tyler Riddington from the Spartans, Daniel Garner from the Eagles. Family tradition continuing there. Darshawn Bourne from the Oilers. Safeties, Brad Vergara from the Spartans. And it's fair to say that the defensive backs of the Spartans have been lit up a bit today. Trent Hoy from the Oilers and Jesse Whiten from the Eagles, and one name I cannot read, I apologise. Anthony Bell from the Spartans, the other cornerback. Thank goodness for that. As good to see the injured Hog up and at them. Special teams, the kicker this year was James Plowman from the Eagles, Dave Webb, the All-Star punter, and Josh Long, the All-Star returner. The overall league awards, we mentioned earlier, the MVP and offensive MVP was Josh Long, Uni-SA Eagles. Brad Vergara, the defensive MVP, Spartans, the best defensive unit this year. Rookie of the Year, Ben Taylor from the Eagles, and Coach of the Year from the Oilers. I think they had their best season in 7 years or thereabouts, was Stephen Rudd.
Well, Steve Rudd and Rob West McGinnis share head coaching duties, so he's not listed on the thing. But
he won't be happy.
Well, when the Oilers announced it on their Facebook page, they put him up as a recipient as well. So congratulations to Rob West McGinnis as well.
Here we go, fourth quarter.
Van Pamelen looking downfield. Barrington was the only one there. He collects it with the interception down at about the 41-yard line. Or did his knee go down? They say it did not. Fights its way out past midfield to the 44-yard line. And Adelaide University is having it all their way.
Yep. Well, they've got the lead. They can just sit back. And that's, I think, the second intercept today. I know you're keeping track of these things, Nick.
So, yeah, third interception. Fourth turnover total for the Spartans.
So Spartans D really would have preferred to have had a little bit more of a rest. Hogs had a long drive to score that last touchdown. Bit of a break with the injury. Offense just a couple of plays at best. And now they're back out there, and the Hogs offense is clicking on all cylinders right now.
And quick toss out. Barrington, incomplete. Interesting. I expected to see them start to lean on the running game a little bit, take the air out of the ball, and see if they can put this one in the trophy case.
Yeah, you've got to be glad that they don't give out rings for premierships, because the Hogs, there's quite a few of them that are out of fingers.
Absolutely. This would be 6 in a row, barring a comeback by the Spartans.
For some, it would be, I think it's 11 in the last 13 seasons.
Handoff Hiddington up the middle. Met for no gain. In fact, they'll say that he lost one on the carry.
It's a fascinating club. In the early years, I was with the Brighton Breakers, and we were sort of the two elite teams that met most years in the early seasons. And the Hogs were led by Coach Sharp McCulloch, and he installed a culture and a tradition that continues 34 years later.
Sharp McCulloch, now residing in College Station, Texas. Had a chance to meet with him the past few years. Fantastic man. And we hope he's doing well. 3rd and 11.
Well, Sharp may well be watching. As the fumble
Ball comes out.
Ryan Ottens has it.
Ottens with the return, reverses field, but is dropped. But that keeps hope alive for the Spartans here in the 4th quarter. They have work to do, but not as much as if that first down had stood, because it would have been another 2 minutes of clock chewed up by the Adelaide University there.
Good to see. Often you see on those type of plays, and we saw the intercept earlier, when you've got players changing direction, emotions seesawing all over the place, that someone's going to do something silly.
Yeah.
And on both occasions it hasn't happened, and there's a picture that says 1,000 words right there, I think.
There's no feeling of helplessness more than not being able to play in a game like this. And our condolences go out to Webb for not being able to suit up in this one. He'll always be thinking that might have been able to make a difference. Motion, a little bit of trickeration, but Adelaide is in the backfield. And now things starting to get a little bit testy. Flags are flying, and this one
Just as
is
I
going
was
to get
saying
ugly.
how they're all playing it in good spirit. Was going to mention it, of course, a lot of them are teammates in the state side. And the flags come flying. Of course, it is a community. American football, NFL is reasonably popular here. It has its niche. Super Bowl day is a Monday morning breakfast, lunch affair here in Australia, and a lot of people get the day off to watch it. But playing, not as popular, obviously. It is a dedicated, committed group. Play for the love of the game and just to hit somebody.
Absolutely, and no better place to do it. If you're curious, again, we have 5 teams, all spread out through the state, so absolutely, come and have a chat. Look us up on Facebook.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 36 on the offence. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 69 on the defence. Those penalties offset. Replay for second down.
So the big loss on first down stands,
2nd and 22.
as both were post snap. Adelaide showing pressure. Ball batted down at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. Valles with the tip down.
We will have a couple of says in the MVP. Probably something we shouldn't discuss on air, I guess, but I think it's reasonably clear cut.
Well, I think that there are a couple of candidates standing out, but I wouldn't be too surprised if things go a certain way, we'll say.
So say a man that goes 2 ways.
Absolutely. I see what you did there. So 2 receivers each
I
side.
said nothing. 3rd down and long.
And we may have a timeout.
Timeout to the Spartans. This is their second timeout for the half.
Running out of play clock there, and 3rd and 22. I don't know that I had very many plays in my playbook for 3rd and 22.
And that's the quickest timeout. No chance for a TV ad break. Van Pemelen goes back, has to wind up the arm, and he has got an arm on him, goes long. Had the open player, but couldn't connect. And it's 4th and long.
Looking for Levi Johnstone there, but unable to connect. And situation where they may have to go for it here. No, they'll send on the punt team.
Well, I think gifting the Hogs the ball at the 20-yard line is probably what is deciding this one, as you can see, Webb.
Well, because of the equipment violation early and the timeout there, Spartans with just 1 remaining. So this one, barring a very unforeseen circumstance, Barrington ball comes out, and
Interesting there by Johnstone, who maybe didn't appreciate that, because this is not the NFL, this is Gridiron SA, which now runs officially under IFAF rules, used to be the NCAA rules. If your knee is down, the play is over.
Yes.
So maybe not the need for that.
Well, at the same time, you always want to be sure. So if he's getting up, still holding the ball, just invite him to spend a little bit more time on the ground and have a think about it in the future. So Adelaide ball at the 35-yard line here in the 4th quarter. Adelaide out in front, 26-0. See if they can salt away victory number 6, something that they have not done in their illustrious history. So most championships of any team in any state in Australia. Hand off Barrington. Weaves his way forward and still fighting out to about the 40-yard line. So very nice gain there. Pick up of about 5.
As we head through this game, which I think is going to be on a fairly quick clock, your highlights from the season, anything stand out for you?
Well, each game between these two teams has been a spectacular one. The game between the Chiefs and the Oilers is one that I will never, ever, ever forget.
Better explain that to the viewers when we get. I'll leave you to think about it. We'll talk about it the next play. 2nd down and 5. Wellborn the pitch out. Barrington's moved in. The Warrior from Nunna Whiting loves playing in Adelaide as he gains 4, sets up 3rd and 1. How would you describe that Chief Oilers game for our viewership?
If you've ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, where the guys watch terrible, terrible movies and comment on them throughout, that's pretty much what it was. It was some of the most unspeakable offensive performances that I've seen on any level, but it was tremendous as a result of it.
I think we had special teams scoring, we had defensive scoring, we had 0 offensive scoring the entire game.
Both defenses pitched a shutout. Baez picking, ball came out after he picked up the 1st down. Ball comes out.
He crossed the down marker. I don't think they can rule forward progress.
No, when the ball comes out, they'll say that he's down and we'll have 4th down.
I think the thing that
at midfield
that I've enjoyed, it's not a specific moment or highlight. I started age 15 when this league started. And you think after 34 years you would have seen everything. And I don't know whether it was bringing you into the PA booth and calling with you. I reckon I saw so many unique things this year.
Absolutely. We've seen just about everything that there is to see here that there is to do in football in the great state of South Australia this season. So, always a good time to come out to the Oval. Coming out next season, we hope that you'll come out, have a listen, have a watch, have a play if you want.
Absolutely. Good to see plenty of work being done to generate, to get the junior comp, revitalise that a little bit, as we've got a timeout to the Hogs.
So 3 in the backfield there. Baez,
Adelaide Uni.
kind of an inverted wishbone formation. Something you see fairly often in the NCAA level in the US now, but not so much with the player under center as Wellborn is. So a little bit of a unique tweak.
Yes, well look, if you're on the chat, feel free to give us your nominations for the MVP for the game. Won't be included in the count, but we'd still like your opinions and thoughts.
Well, you never know. Make a persuasive argument.
Yeah, convince us. It's 4th and very, very short. Just the Hogs side of midfield. And they have decided they like to have the football, they're going to go for it. And given the way their offense has chugged along, why not? How are they doing on 4th down today?
So 1 for 2 on 4th down for Adelaide thus far. Handoff, met in the backfield and spun out. Does not look like he got there.
They had him and they lost him.
They did. And there's our signal for 1st down. And this one is just about over with Adelaide at midfield. 26 points to the better of Port Adelaide here.
I think in retrospect it was over with that long Baez run.
Well,
that made it 16. I think 9 is gettable. 16, the way the Spartans are structured, that's a head start they just don't make up.
it is, and just giving up the big play meant that and Baez, as we talk about him, again, starts down the sideline, inside the 20, pushed out of bounds at about the 14. So, tremendous run by Baez on the pitch there. And he has been the difference maker for Adelaide all season.
And of course, it's easy just to focus on the ball carrier, and we'll always do that, but a lot of times you don't get that yardage unless someone's putting the defenders away with a good block.
Absolutely, and that is just the receivers on that side sort of returning the favor. Baez gets outside the tackle box in a hurry. The receivers block downfield for him because they know that the more he does, the better their situation is going to be, with the Spartans having to commit more men to him. It means better opportunities in the passing game for Whalebourne.
Well, here we go. First and goal. No, first and 10, my apologies, from about the 17. That throw looked battered at the line or just slipped out of the hand. Incomplete.
Very wobbly and short, looking for Plamondon.
It's almost like they put me in at quarterback. Don't think I could throw that far, but...
No, sure, you could definitely get it out there. Why not? Maybe we'll see after this game is over.
So second down. 10 to go. It's just... the contest has been over for a while. This was about the Hogs enjoying the moment. And the Spartans just trying to do something to take out of this game. Unfortunately, if you don't win, it's very hard to feel positive about it.
Well, I imagine the Spartans want to get at least something on the scoreboard here. Barrington fights up. We have a flag down on the far sideline, but tremendous concentration by Barrington. The DB had great positioning on it, but Barrington was able to get his hands up and pull it through. Looks like this one's coming back, though.
Tell you what, though, the catching of the Hog receivers today.
82 on the offense. 15-yard penalty, still
Oh, and there's the little hand on the back, kind of giving himself a little bit of space away from Jack Piazzolla of the Spartans. So 15 yards from the previous spot.
Look good on the videotape. I'm sure that this coverage will be watched time and time again by the Hogs team. And we've had some great pictures. I'd like to thank all of the Space Quake sports team, Dave Muggleton pushing all the buttons, all the cameramen and women, and it's amazing. We come here and just watch live most times. The ability to see it in these different angles is fantastic. As Olsen takes it, he breaks loose. Houdini's at it again, and he's out at the 4.
And just like that, on 2nd and 25, Adelaide comes up with something and gets a first down. And that's just been the way things have been broken all day today for Adelaide University. Just
give the credit to Jonathan Barron, number 74. I think he ran a long way. Yeah, you can see him coming now. Never gave up on the play. You're
Absolutely.
down by 26. Your season's in tatters, and you're still going hard at the football. That's what you want to see.
absolutely, and that's something that the Spartans will definitely identify in film afterward. Tremendous, tremendous heart by the Spartans, and see if they can get the stop here. 3 in the backfield in the inverted wishbone. Hand off Baez, seeing if he can get the 2nd touchdown of the day. But tackled at the 4, no gain.
And this, if they score, I predict might be the last series we'll see from Josh Wilborn, as we do have an injury on the field. A couple, actually. A couple of warriors going at it all day. One of them just says, someone just give me a hand up. Jordan Vicinton, the Hog, is up. Not quite sure on the number of the Spartan player. Looks to be 65 maybe, which is George Handarakis. I reckon if the Hogs score here, up by 30, that might be Whalebourne, and they might just throw Patrick Stewart in for the last series. Would you do that?
Oh yeah, you want to give him snaps in a situation like this. Championship game experience does carry over and just build up confidence that the future is in good hands for Adelaide University.
Because, I mean, the Hogs, obviously short-term very well, but they do have a long-term perspective on things.
Absolutely. They win for now and win for tomorrow, and that has been the difference between them and the rest of the league. Just because of their depth, they're allowed to plan for tomorrow much more than the rest of the teams who have to push young bodies into positions right away.
This is the way you do not want your season to end. not just on the losing sign, but with some extra pain as well. But he's obviously conscious and talking and moving the legs around a little bit. Just might have had the stuffing knocked out of him, unless it's something with the shoulder.
Once again,
Can I have a drink? Just get a drink.
Sure. And a few minutes away from several more drinks of a more enjoyable variety, I'm sure.
That's it. So for these guys, they'll go into the Christmas break. And we'll probably gather again in June, July for pre-season training. And then when do we get started? Usually start of September nowadays. I think we started this year.
Yep. So
it's a 12-week regular season, 10 games and a cup. So
we can hear you on the microphone. Can you back up a little bit? Thank you.
So 13-week regular season with 10 games and 3 byes. 5-team league. Top 3 make the playoffs. The top team straight into the Great Southern Bowl. That was the Hogs this year. And as we take time, it's always, we do have injuries throughout the game and player safety is paramount, so we won't be rushing anything here. Still waiting for nominations from our chat for MVP.
Well, I imagine that Grandma in Ontario has one in particular that she might like to see.
Yes. Yes, no bias in the voting. Don't forget, not too far away, in fact, this is a stretcher coming out to the field now, which is not great to see. And I think we'll get a few of the linemen to help with this. Not the way that you want to see a season end, but happens from time to time. Of course, tomorrow, Nick, bowl season in college football. What you looking forward to there?
Well, I'm looking forward to the famous Cheez-It Bowl. TCU against the Cal Golden Bears. Whereas in the playoffs, there's not too much drama. Alabama has been a step above everyone this year. The question will whether be Tua Tagovailoa is actually going to be able to play in the championship game. He came out of the game against Georgia with an injury and was the Heisman frontrunner until that point. Kyler Murray, the actual Heisman winner, ended up snatching it away, and he will be in the matchup against Oklahoma, or on Oklahoma against Alabama in that first round playoff game. Clemson and Notre Dame, interesting, but I think that most people are expecting to see Clemson versus Alabama for the 4th time in a row in the playoffs. So
Clemson, Alabama will be a hunky-dory football game. I think we've got something like 41 bowl games. I think that includes the semi-finals and the championship
something
game.
like that.
41.
But really, the only one that really matters is the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yes.
Go Frogs.
Where is the Cheez-It Bowl?
Arizona.
Arizona.
So formerly the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl.
Okay.
Switched to
Previously the Taco Bell Bowl.
Cactus Bowl, I believe.
Oh, the Cactus Bowl, thank you.
Something like that. So Buffalo Wild Wings to now the Cheez-It Bowl, and who will bring home the Cheez-Its?
So we'll see how that plays out. Of course, NFL playoffs not too far away. Don't forget there is NFL football tomorrow, because the college games bowl season, they can actually play a couple of Saturday games by law. I thought it was just the NFL doing the right thing by the sport and not playing games on Saturday, but found out a while back that by law the NFL can't play on Saturday until this time of the year.
Absolutely, and well, originally just the popularity of the two sports was incredibly different. The NFL was the niche and college was what was there, and so the situation was really more for the NFL's benefit rather than the other way around. But as things have grown where the NFL has continued to grow into the Goliath enterprise that it is now. It's just common courtesy, and as the league that feeds into the NFL, they don't want to do too much head-to-head competition with the NCAA, because at least when it comes to attendance, there is still no competition. The NCAA attendance is miles and miles ahead of the NFL.
Yeah, look, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and to me they're almost like a college team in a college community in the NFL, if that makes sense.
That is certainly an accurate comparison.
But love my college football, and certainly we'll look forward to, I mean, it's got the tradition, the colour, the atmosphere.
Right, the pageantry is what
Pageantry, that's the word.
So, but the Dallas Cowboys probably have the largest stadium capacity potential in the NFL, and they're still about 20,000 seats behind Michigan on any given Saturday.
G'day to Paul Snelling joining us as we slowly but surely wait for the stretcher case to be resolved. NFL playoffs. Teams starting to fill up now. Great. Did you see Kansas City and San Diego yesterday?
I saw just the end of it, and what an end it was.
Oh. Yeah, gutsy call. You're on the road. You score pretty much as time expires. Not quite. Trailing by 1, and you go for the win.
Well, that is the coach's wisdom of a sort, at least in the NCAA. On the road, you go for the win because you just want to get out of there as quickly as possible and limit the time that the crowd can have an influence. It's a little bit different equation in the pros because games can end in a tie if there's no score in overtime. But just wanting to get out of there, one play for the win, and it paid off in a big way as the Chargers are looking good to get that wild card berth.
It does. And Kansas City still have the tiebreaker against, I still want to call them San Diego. That's going to take years to get out of my system.
It is.
Against the Chargers. And you think about it, you may have the second best record in your conference, but you're going to have to win 3 road games to make the Super Bowl. It just seems so unfair. And you could go on the road and play a team that maybe won 9 games, went 9-7, and you went, 12-4 or something.
It's true, but at the same time, what if you have 2 very good teams and 2 terrible teams? That just, as opposed to a division with 4 fairly good teams, you're not necessarily seeing the win-loss record equal out there, and the NFL does do a good job of strength of schedule adjustments, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do.
If you've just joined us and are wondering why we're just standing around chatting, it's because we do have an injury on the field that's requiring a stretcher case at the moment. So obviously apologise, but player safety comes first. We'll have the game back underway as soon as possible. Some great little shots around the ground. You can see one of the Schutt helmets there. Looks like that's had a little bit of wear and tear over the years.
Well, all those bars means that you can tell that it's a lineman helmet, and looks like we're getting off the field, and we'll be able to get back underway before too much longer.
Super Bowl prediction?
Oh, put me on the spot right here.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh.
So not too far from good. I'll leave you to think about that. I'll come back. For mine, yeah, look, it's an interesting one because the 2 top teams, the Chiefs, have a horrid history in playoffs in recent years. And the Rams have the top record along with New Orleans, and you feel the Rams are just a little bit vulnerable with some injuries. And maybe then that leaves the Saints, and producer David Muggleton says Saints without any equivocation whatsoever.
Who will they be against though?
Saints Patriots, that'd be a Super Bowl.
That would certainly be a Super Bowl and a chance to settle some of the debate between the Drew Brees, Tom Brady defenders in each camp when it comes to the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Brees has all of the passing records. Brady has the championships. But speaking of championships and records, Whaleborn back under center, throwing to the end zone. Barrington has it. Did he complete the catch? We are waiting for the signal. And Barrington is down, showing that he has the ball.
No one is celebrating. Incomplete.
All right, so
Let's
looks
watch it.
ruled that the yes, that ball definitely moved after contact with the ground, so incomplete.
We know that the catch rule in the NFL is something extraordinary, but there was no doubt on that.
That was a little shot put throw by Whalebourne there, just lofting it up, but almost worked. Barrington just not able to come down with it.
So 3rd and goal. The Hogs are on the verge here, 4 yards away from another score. Be one of their biggest grand final wins. Looking for Barrington, no doubt about that one. Tyler Barrington has brought it in.
So 33-0 is your score here with the extra point yet to come.
32.
Oh, 32, right. So getting a little bit ahead of myself as the PAT team comes on.
Just going to check some records here in terms of size of grand final wins. And I mean, they were due for a blowout. They had played so many close games over the last couple of years.
Certainly true. Last year's grand final went into overtime. Adelaide managed to pick up a 4th and 1. Port Adelaide did not. And that was the difference. Kick is good, and so my earlier saying just proved to be prophetic. 33-0 is the score. And this one is just about in the record books.
Sometimes we do see at this level. Not sure if they'll do it today. We do see some games that are over and the injury count starting to mount up. The clock runs, just seems to run that little bit faster. Not going to say too much more than that. But the Spartans, they would just want to get something on the board. It always looks a lot better when there's not a 0 in front of it. Hogs are ready to kick us back underway. That's a nice long kick to about the 10-yard line. And
We don't know
down
yet.
at about the 30-yard line. The last shutout was in 2007. Razorbacks against the Oilers. Just having a look through 33 years of scores. This is not the biggest blowout in Gridiron SA history. It could still happen. There was a score, and I actually thought I had erased this from my memory. 1996. The Hogs 39, the Breakers 0. Back at the old Pine Stadium days, and that is the biggest winning margin. We're at 33 now. Van Pamelen back at quarterback. 1st and 10. Isaac Musalam gets a call.
Makes Vaez miss. Looks to the sideline. Changes orientation of the ball and out past the 40-yard line. Great run by Musalam there.
1st down. Gain of 11.
Musalam outplayed Vaez the first meeting of the season between these two teams, I would say. But Vaez continued the consistency, stayed healthy, and ended up being the state selection. But Musalam back into the game, looking to get points on the board here late in the 4th quarter.
So they're at the 41, 1st and 10.
2 receivers each side, once again. Motion a man across. 3 receivers over on the right. Van Pamelen looks that way, but throw is incomplete. Was looking for possibly a wheel route, flag down, but miscommunication between he and his receiver there as Plemons threw towards the sideline, and his receiver was just nowhere in the area.
Flag down. They'd be feeling it a bit by now, I reckon. They've been out there in the sun a fair bit. The game was going at a good clip. It slowed down a little bit with the injury, of
Pass
course.
interference, number 29 on the offence. 15-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Temperature would be back up to about, I reckon about 24 degrees. Let me just check that. It's 24 degrees in Adelaide at the moment. but cooling breeze.
Matthew Martin called for the pass interference there. Offensive pass interference, so 15 yards sets the Spartans back. It pretty much undoes all of Musalam's effort. Van Pamelen unloads down the sideline. Over the heads of everyone, incomplete.
I reckon the cameraman and the cherry picker was about ready to stick his arm out and make a catch.
We are having issues in the backfield as embers flaring in a tremendous fashion.
Yeah, that's why.
Van Pamelen got hit as he threw. And so the temperatures are very high.
Yeah,
Flag comes out, and that will likely spend the end of the day for Damien Ballar.
And we had the Hall of Fame function back in February, which also announced the All-Stars, announced Valar as the MVP, and I think he gets first use of the showers today.
So 5 flags on the field. One official has thrown his hat, which is what they do when they've already thrown the flag. So
the first penalty, you throw the flag. The second penalty, you throw the hat. The third penalty, you don't want to know.
No. Just pray that you never see it.
That's it.
So, at least Spartans captains are seemingly at peace with the situation, joking around with the officials. And this one is just going to take a while for the officials to write down in the official stat book just what the penalties were and who is the guilty party.
Well, of course, the trick is, was there multiple parties, in which case it might all offset. Turns into a bit of mathematics, 15 this way, 30 that way, on occasions.
Well, in that situation, the penalties would offset.
And I should give kudos to our officiating crew. They are some of the hardest working people. Not only do they need to know the rules and keep everything under control. We play double headers here. And it's easy for us, Nick. We come here, do 2 games. We sit in our chairs under some shade, chat away. These guys often do double header games week in, week out. That is, what are we, 13 round season. It's about 30 games that you do over a short period of time.
It is, and it is, the referees don't get bye weeks. So even when teams are off, the referees are still here every single week. So thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and could not have a game without them.
Not a game like this.
No.
Especially when tempers start flaring up.
And,
we go to the call.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Personal foul, roughing the passer, 69 on the defence. Unsportsmanlike conduct, 56, offence. Unsportsmanlike conduct, 36, offence. Flagrant, personal foul, 36 on the offence. Number 36 is ejected. Unsportsmanlike conduct, 64 on the defence. The result is 15 yards, first down.
So all of the dead ball penalties offset. And so the roughing the passer penalty is the one that actually matters.
Well, I reckon the Spartans have got a hope, because Father Van Pamelen might say a prayer.
Well, yes, this is a tough end to the season for the Spartans. Lots and lots of people picking up personal fouls there.
There was a lot in that. So the Spartans lost a player, but gained a lot of yardage in the process.
Well,
okay.
so Musalam back in the backfield. Van Pamelen unloads down the sideline. Incomplete.
Van Pamelen was a hog sandwich.
Yep, and they will have to pick him up off the field with the spatula after that one. That one was a tough situation.
Perfectly fair, totally legal, but painful.
Absolutely. So 2nd and 10 here in the 4th quarter. It has been all Adelaide University all day. Spartans looking to get something on the scoreboard to avoid the shutout. in a situation where you really don't want to have a 0 on that scoreboard. 2 receivers each side, 1 in the backfield. And Pemberlin under center again. Has time. Pocket collapses, will keep it himself. Reverses field and tracked down in the backfield. Flag down late and more flags down late, and we will likely possibly see the end of another day here.
Yeah, we haven't had a 2-minute warning to my notice. And oh, there's, oh dear. So it is starting to get a little bit out of hand. Don't think any of that was on Van Pemelen's tackle, which looked perfectly legal.
Or the tackle on Van Pemberlin.
Yeah, it was beautifully executed by Tom Rose. That's
so. For those keeping score at home, that is 9 personal fouls on the Spartans today. Yeah. And that is too many to win a football game. I can say with very little fear of contradiction.
Yeah. Seen this before. Let's have a look at the replay here. Got some good blocking. Decided there was nothing downfield.
And if he just keeps it and keeps going, he has yards.
Yeah.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 68 on the offence. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 72 on the offence. 72 is disqualified. Result of the play, 30 yards from the previous spot, from the end of the run.
That's 2. The grand final record is 3.
Will be assessed 15 yards, followed by a half distance.
So, 11 personal fouls on the day for the Spartans.
That may be a record for a championship game. Admittedly, none of these has had an effect on the contest. This is just the frustration unloading.
I'm going to jinx it here and actually say that for all of the penalties that we've seen here, we have not had a false start. We have not had an offsides. No procedural penalties today, despite the 14 on the Spartans and 5 on Adelaide University.
So,
3rd and
my goodness.
40. Musalam picks up some.
And we are flag free.
That is an event in and of itself, worthy of celebration. Let Musalam kind of hobbled, coming off.
So you punt from here, and if you're lucky, you'll get a first down with the punt.
They would have to be very lucky to get a first down with this punt.
And then it'll be interesting to see what the Hogs do. Whether they'll start Wellborn or say, mate, you've won the championship, have another title. And I think he either ties or breaks the record sent by, well, for mine, the greatest player in Gridiron SA, Mark Yeager. You just lose track of the numbers after all. Well, that's a beautiful kick.
It is.
That is a
tremendous.
Fantastic punt.
Out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Absolutely tremendous. My apologies, David Webb, for doubting that you would kick it past the sticks.
I reckon he's kicked that about 53.
Well, we're the ones keeping stats, so that's what it'll be, 53. Yep.
So again, no indication of the time left, but it can't be much.
Referee's making a check on the time there.
Let's see who's in at quarterback. It's still Wellborn, and maybe with the emotions running a bit high, you probably do want your leader out there.
Absolutely, just keep things settled on the offensive end, make sure that nobody is doing anything untoward.
So if they score here, they could break the record for the biggest winning margin in a championship game in South Australia. Not that they would know that.
Hiddington gets the carry and drive Evan back after a gain of about one.
And they brought in a couple of back. You can see a couple of backup players around the place, and yeah, Wellborn is saying to the official, let's just roll this clock. I got a premiership party to go to. Not interested, I think, in putting up too many more points. We'll take the win as it stands. Second down and 7. Final stages of the Great Southern Bowl.
2 in the backfield, 2 receivers on the right for Wellborn. Looks like Baez's day is done. Swarmed at the line and maybe a pickup of 1, but the clock continues to roll as we tick on towards celebration number 6 in a row for Adelaide University.
And it is one of the shames the way that Australia is geographically isolated from city to city, and the sheer cost of paying to play this level, let alone state, let alone national, that never get to see the Hogs play another premier team in another state.
Well, they are the big fish in our small pond here in South Australia, so it is definitely curious. Plamondon takes the reception and fights his way, but is tackled well short of the line to gain. But yes, it would be interesting to see Adelaide measure up against some of the other teams. And thank goodness for that. This one is just about over. Spartans offense will get on the field one more time here. But with 1 timeout, probably not enough time to mount a sustained drive to try and get points on the board. May take some shots.
So 4th down. Spartans will have 1 more touch of the football, barring a fake punt. Punts away. End over end bounce will be interesting. Nice sit up bounce, maybe live ball. And in the end, John Riddington will be downed, and it will be Spartan ball from the 15. And that should just about see us out for the season.
Last possession of the season. Spartans offense back on the field. Not a lot of time remaining, probably about a minute left. So 1 or 2 carries would end it.
Post-match there will be the presentations, the premiership medals and the MVP and the all-important Premiership Cup, which I saw earlier. Absolutely staggered that it is still in one piece after all these years.
Well,
it is actually the same Premiership Cup they gave out 34 years ago.
Is it? Interesting.
Mm-hmm. When you see what happens to it year on year, it's one tough trophy.
Big run up the middle by Musalam, and oh, tremendous impact on the tackle there, and that is just
watch this.
Horrifying.
Musalam with the carry, and there is your one-man brick wall with the World Wrestling Federation move at the end.
Musalam looks to be up, and that shoulder may be giving him some issues, but give him the first down, so tough running by Musalam.
That's how you rope and get down a steer, isn't it, in Texas?
It certainly is. Just twist them off their feet. Baez with a tremendous tackle there. And
this game cannot end soon enough for the Spartans.
With Musalam off with the injury, Valar out due to disqualification, we are running out of running backs for the Spartans. We are down. Clock will continue to roll, running inbounds, and that may just about do it for today.
Last play or 1 more to go. The Spartans, they will look upon the season with disappointment. If they were looking for a spot where they may have blown it, it was that game against the Oilers where they copped some key injuries. Just didn't look. Were they lucky winners last week? Well, I guess they played a team in the Eagles who couldn't convert the opportunities the Spartans gave them.
And there were plentiful opportunities.
And the Hogs a level above that they could not match today.
Absolutely. The Spartans undefeated this season, apart from when playing Adelaide University, but bad news is Adelaide University was waiting in the championship game and weren't going to be beaten today either.
Well, we talk about champions, we talk about dynasties, and then there are the Hogs of Adelaide University. 6 champions in a row, and the Australian record for state championships is now 26. And they did it emphatically. The Hogs 34, shutting out the Spartans 0. And it will be party time at Adelaide Uni.
It is to be expected, but at the same time, they don't celebrate it any less. So, tremendous effort by Adelaide University today, and our condolences to the Spartans who played hard but did not have the personnel at least to match this offensive firepower from Adelaide University here today.
So as the officials leave the field, we thank them. They had some tough work to do in that final quarter. They'd be pleased didn't have an impact on the contest. Pretty much, I think, tried to avoid the penalties that weren't there.
Absolutely.
But were forced to a situation where they had to call the penalties that ended up getting there as emotions were frayed.
Just sometimes you have to call a penalty just to settle down the other side, because if you aren't calling penalties when things are getting out of hand, then you're going to get retaliation, and that's when things start to get dangerous.
It's a license to escalate, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So calling the penalties, even calling them as many as they ended up calling in the end, is the only way to make sure that these things don't get too far out of hand.
So we have a cup and medals about to be presented. As the teams will break their huddles, we'll give this to you on Spacequake Sports. I'm surprised I don't have too many mobile phones out with selfies at the moment. Isn't that what you do in the modern day, Nick? You're a man for the modern moment?
Oh, well, you have to wait until you get the trophy first.
True.
Then you get your selfies with the trophy and your medals and everything. So, just have our post-match handshake here. Both these teams left it all on the field, and once again, Josh Whalebourne ends it with a smile on his face at the front of the line. Tough break for Andy Stevens, coaching and captaining the Spartans, to end this one in disappointment again today.
Yeah, hard to find a weakness in the Hogs today. Vares was dominant at running back. That key long 62-yard run really broke the game open. You've got a defence that really didn't let the Spartans get any drive of semblance beyond maybe 25 yards today.
Absolutely. The defensive line made contact with Valar early, bottled things up, and forced Van Pemelen to throw to beat them, and to his credit, as much as he tried, could not connect downfield regularly enough to make them pay.
Special teams all did their job.
Well, apart from possibly the kick return for Adelaide, which was a bit of an adventure the few times that we saw it.
Okay.
But a very, very minor nitpick for a dominant day by Adelaide University.
So the teams will gather at their respective 40-yard lines or so, and as mentioned, I've been on both ends of the grand final equation here. It is a gap, the Gulf of St. Vincent, that you have to... It's a little bit different. Sometimes with the footy, you have to sit around and you get to go after a period of time. With the Gridiron, you're actually out there for the whole ceremony, and it can be long because in Aussie rules, you have a team of 21 to give out the medals to. The Hogs have 46 add coaches. So we'll see how we go with this. We've got a president of Gridiron SA, Damien Garcia, out there in the blue shirt with the microphone, and well, legendary administrator, loved by all, and the net Maisie out there to help present with the medals as they're just checking through the team list. Should have something for you fairly shortly.
So, Garcia talking with Tom Etherton, coach of the Adelaide University Hogs. Pile on Morton there. And we will be getting underway with presentations very shortly.
So the way the season ended up, 5 teams. The South City Chiefs finished 5th, 1-9 on the season. The Oilers had their best season in some time, picked up 3 wins, 3-7. That left the Eagles in the playoffs at 5-5. The Spartans at 7-3 and the Hogs at 9-1. In the prelim final, it was the Spartans in an error-filled game, 14-10 winners. And today, well, you see that score. It was one-way traffic for the dynasty that is the Hogs of Adelaide University.
And it is just a bit of the tier situation that we have here in South Australia, where you can look at that ladder and say, yes, that's about where I expected the teams to be. Just Chiefs struggling mightily with transition and injuries this year. Just able to pull up the 1 win against the Oilers, but not much else. The Oilers upset the Eagles in week 2, but other than that, we're able to beat the Chiefs twice, and that's about it. The Eagles managed to upset Adelaide University, but otherwise picked up their wins against the Oilers and the Chiefs. Spartans beat everyone apart from Adelaide University, and Adelaide University beat everyone apart from the regular season finale against the Eagles. So
yeah, they'll probably be a bit miffed in retrospect that they didn't win that and blew an undefeated season, of which they've had quite a few. But they knew it was all about preparing for today. This is the 12th straight championship game that the Hogs have won. They haven't won 12 straight premierships, but if they get here, they win it.
It is a tremendous record, and one that may be unequaled in sports.
I think we're just about to go down to Damien Garcia.
If I could just get you guys to come around. Thank you.
And we'll go downfield for the presentations.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for the Great Southern Bowl. Congratulations to the Razorbacks. It's been a near perfect season, and near perfect, but well deserved. 6 in a row now, and I believe 25 out of 34 championships for this club. I think that deserves a round of applause. Just a few really quick thank yous to all the volunteers, coaches, committees, everyone who has anything to do with Gridiron in this state. There are no paid positions. Everyone does this off their own free time and for the love of the sport. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in making this a really great season. Quick thank you to the Gridiron SA board as well and committee, everyone who's given their extra time. Thank you guys for everything that you've done this season. To the referees, thank you for another great season. Nick Priest and Phil Hurden, thank you for all of your commentary this season. It's been really great having you. Jeff Alderson, who's done all the camera work for us every game. Stuart Flint, for the articles that he's been writing for us. 4th and Goal articles have been really great. Spacequake Sports, who have done the live feed for us today. It's been great and the feedback has been amazing, so thank you very much. Also to the Port Rugby Club, who have hosted us for the 2nd year now. They've been very accommodating, and we're looking forward to a long partnership with them. And finally, just to all of the friends and families who come out every week and support us, This league wouldn't be what it is without you, so thank you to everyone who supports this sport. Thanks. I'd like to now invite Andrew Stevens forward just to say a few words. It's been a tough season and a tough few weeks for the Spartans, but again, have been one of the benchmarks of this season, and you know, it's what everyone else is fighting to be in this position. So over to you, Andrew.
Obviously not how we wanted the game to go again. Thanks to the Razorbacks for another good game. Our guys, next year, that's all we can look forward to. Just want to reiterate what Damien said. Thanks to all the volunteers. We do have a very small league, so all of that volunteering helps to go a long way. So anyone here that used to play, interested in getting involved, come and help out the sport, help it grow.
Thanks, Andrew. And again, well done to the Spartans. Runner-up in the grand final was nothing to be ashamed of. You fought well today, so well done, lads. Good season. I would also like to say thank you to Matt Peterson, who was the head ref today. They did a great job. Again, they're volunteers as well, generally, so thanks to the refs. Finally, on to the Razorbacks. Dominant again. You guys continue to just grind out and do what you have to do to win championships. I say this genuinely, you guys are the standard at which the rest of the clubs in this league measure themselves by, and I think for a long time coming it's going to be very difficult to get anywhere near the record that you guys have set. 6 straight, 25 out of the last 34, and I believe that Josh Wellborn, this is your 15th, 16th, I knew he'd correct me, his 16th individual championship, so well done. I'd like to invite up Tom Etherton, who is their head coach and player. Say a few words.
Firstly, obviously, commiseration to the Spartans. Hell of a game, always physical. That's why I love it. I said it to the guys at halftime. This is a physical game. I loved it. This was football at its best. That's what we live for, okay? So thank you very much for that to you guys. On to my guys, coaches, Brad, Tyson, Chuck, Josh. Thank you. Can't do it without you. And then that extends to the volunteers, all the stuff that's done behind the scenes. Thank you very much. The Gridiron SA board, I know it's a thankless job at sometimes, but you know, we can't compete without you guys, so thank you. Thanks to the Rob Roy for sponsoring us this year again. Yep, good. And I'll keep it short and sweet. 6 in a row, boys. Well done.
Before we hand out the